Hey everybody, it's Lear from Lear Gaming, and today I'm finally bringing you my ultimate guide to the Golden Dragon Mythic Pathway in Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. Now, if you're new to my ultimate Mythic Path guides, these guides basically cover absolutely everything. So we're going to be covering progression from the very beginning, where we go through every step, including showing footage of how to unlock the Golden Dragon. We are also going to be looking at major events along the path as you play a Golden Dragon. We will be looking at the Crusader system, special effects of the Crusader system. We're going to go over all of the unique units that you can unlock. And brand new to this guide, by popular demand, I will actually show the full ending for the Golden Dragon. Now, if you're into my style, I also do narration of specific story events that are related to and unique to the Golden Dragon. Now, because these videos are extremely long, I try and make them really easy to navigate. So you're going to find timestamps in the description below. And also, obviously, it's going to show on the timeline as the video is playing. So if you're interested in very specific parts of this video, feel free to jump around. Now, if you want to help me support, make more content like this, because it takes a ton of work, drop a like. A great thing you can do is drop me a comment. Let me know what you like, what you don't like. Love hearing what videos you like for me to work on next. That helps tremendously. And of course, if you're into RPGs, if you're into looter shooters, that's kind of what I do here. Then make sure to subscribe and smash the notification bell to be notified when my next videos drop. All right, with that being said, guys, let's go ahead and jump in and get started with my ultimate guide to the Golden Dragon Mythic Pathway. It's a doozy. It's amazing. Let's check it out. All right, guys. So the Golden Dragon Pathway is complex in a couple of ways. It is a pathway that you will not get the chance to play and fully unlock until Act 5. However, there are requirements that you absolutely positively cannot miss that you're going to find as early as Act 1. In fact, the earliest example is right at the beginning here. So once you drop down into the caverns, right after you meet Sela, you are going to go ahead and see this giant glowing scale. Now, if you miss this, man, I don't know what to say. That's pretty bad. But what you need to do is make sure you pick up and loot this scale, as it is going to be absolutely critical. Now, the next requirement in Act 1 is going to require you to go to the Blackwing Library. Fortunately, this is part of the main quest, so go ahead and go there. And once you're here, what you need to do is you need to make sure and go free the old blind man, the storyteller here. It does not matter what you do. You can, FYI, unlock the trickster pathway here if you mess with these guys' minds. Outside of that, just make sure that this gets completed and that we free the storyteller. Now, once you've freed the storyteller, go ahead and tell him I'm taking you to the Defender's Heart. This is the fastest way to get you guys back to Defender's Heart, and that's where you're gonna need to interact with the storyteller. He's gonna thank you, and then it allows you to automatically head over there, and that's what I recommend to do to save time. Now, back at the Defender's Heart, you're gonna want to find a storyteller. He's gonna be sitting over here at the armchair, and go ahead and talk to him, and he's gonna give you a gift for saving him. At this point, you want to go ahead and talk to him and kind of learn a little bit more about him and his background here. So we'll go ahead and do that here. You can ask him about, ask him whether he wields special powers. You can talk to him about what blight is concealed in the Wardstone. And then you can ask him, why did you travel to the Wardstones? And then finally, I have heard you, storyteller. Now, here is the important thing here. You, at this point, have some new options. Now, at this point, you want to go ahead and present the purple stone knife to him. Now, this is assuming that you hopefully picked it up in the town square. And this part is part of the main kind of story, not related to the Golden Dragon, but it is something that you do need to talk to him about. And at that point, it's going to give you a new quest, and it's going to open up more options where you can talk to him some more, so go ahead and do that. And then you're going to have a new option that says, please examine the items I'm carrying. Perhaps some of them could tell us a story. And then he wants to touch your items. And it's going to go through some of the other items you maybe have gotten, like Yaniel's sword, for example, Radiance. But what you care about is this one right here, where the storyteller's hand runs carefully over the scale that has still not lost its shine. Proud Terendelev, protector of Kenabres, you devoted your life to serving people. Your death is a great loss, but maybe I will be able to find out something about you that is unknown to your many admirers. The storyteller's hand touches Finian. And this is if you got Finian's weapon. So it may have seemed like a tiny little sentence about Terendelev's skills, but it's absolutely critical. And then, of course, if there are any other buckles or items that you have, that's great. And at that point, it opens up conversations for each of the items you have. Again, you may or may not have these. What you care about and what we care about here is show Terendelev's skill to the storyteller. Tell me about Terendelev. The storyteller takes a deep breath and smiles. I am flying. I can finally spread my wings. I'm gliding over a broad river. Sunset has turned its surface smooth like a mirror. And I see my reflection. It is as if another silver dragon is rising to meet me from the depths. But what is it? The scales on my chest are black, and the darkness is spreading over my body. I wake up. A clear sky sways above me. Blazing with heat, I am in human form. The red dust of the wound clings to my cracked lips. Someone is carrying me on a stretcher made of shield and spears. I'm so weak I can barely lift my hand to my face. The sight of my own hand terrifies me. It is black and the skin glistens like scales melted by fire. I probably ought to cry, but I only feel hatred and nausea. All these people around me, out of sympathy for them, did I choose to leave the mountains. I gave up my flights over rivers. I went to the demon's lair. They don't have a scratch on them, but I'm infected with foulness. It's not fair. My life is more precious than their pathetic existence. Oh, how I hate them in this moment. And then I suddenly feel shame. No. These are not my thoughts. The crusaders carrying me are my good friends. I'm glad they did not suffer. But I hate them and myself so much. Pain and hatred pierce me all at once. It's all because of them. All because of them. Someone walking beside me touches me, talks to me. But the only thing I hear is, your mentor, he will come. He will help. And I lose consciousness. The storyteller takes a deep breath, exiting a vision. Such hatred? From Terendelev? Wasn't she on our side? Terendelev has come a long way. Her unit was ambushed by demons once, and she was infected with foulness. The Terendelev you met in Kenabres has gone through many trials and regained her former purity. What happened next? Storyteller puts his hand on his forehead. Sometimes the past can be as vague as the future. We all know how Terendelev's story ended, but the beginning is hidden from us. Maybe you find something else that used to belong to her. We will know more about her struggle. However, no matter what we learn, remember, her soul, the soul of a true dragon, overcame every obstacle, endured every torment. She was able to purify herself. For dragons are truly powerful, not only in body, but in spirit too. So, that, as you probably noticed, gave you a new quest, which is the Dragon's Fate, is what we were looking for. And we will indeed need to find other items of Terendelev. And what's going to happen at this point is you need to go ahead and finish up Act 1. And we will go ahead and pick up an Act 2 when you are at the head of the 5th Crusade. All right, now the second part of the Golden Dragon quest line is to head to Leper Smile, and this is part of the main quest. So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and go in here, and you're going to make your way through the pathway to the Swarm Queen, and you're going to go ahead and defeat her. So we're going to go ahead and fast forward to that section. All right, here we are after killing the Vesper Queen. And again, I'm going to start down here, and we kind of make our way down here straight ahead. You make a right and head on up to here. And after the battle, it's very important, do not leave. Make sure you go down into this chasm. Now, because this is out of the way, this is very easy to miss. A lot of people have been confused in the past how to find it, but I'll show you firsthand. So you're going to go ahead and kill these Vescobar swarms, and we're going to be heading past this boulder. So I'll go ahead and fast forward and show you where we're going.
You've crossed the wrong mountain.
Now, as we go here, you're also going to go ahead and fight a bunch of undead. Keep going. All right, and what you're looking for is this area right here. So on the map, it's literally straight down here. Now, do note this area here, you probably want to interact with first to stop the undead from spawning. This is, for those of you that don't know, the special item that is required to unlock the Mythic Lich Path. So you can go ahead and kill the Karen right, but either way, make sure to interact with this item here afterwards. And you can deal with this however you want. If you're gonna be a golden dragon, you probably want to go down the good path. So go ahead and break that. And it's going to, after you fight this batch of enemies here, make it so that the undead stop spawning. So go ahead and kill those. And at this point, you want to go ahead and go over here to the cart. There's going to be a little magnifying glass. Click on that. And then it says a massive claw, judged by its size and color, once belonged to a silver dragon. And guess what? Go ahead and click on that. And you will say, received a piece of Terendelev's claw. So this is exactly what you need. Now, at this point in the campaign, you're not going to be able to turn it in yet. So what you're going to need to do is go ahead and complete Act 2. You're going to go to Drezen. You're going to conquer it. And once we get to Act 3, you're going to notice the storyteller who we need to interact with is not a Drezen. So we're going to have to go into the next step in order to basically get to the storyteller and get him back so that we can interact with him again. Now, at the end of Act 2, when you basically go and assault Drezen, you can technically choose any of the mythic pathways. However, because, once again, as mentioned earlier in this guide, since the Golden Dragon pathway is neutral good, I recommend one of the kind of more good-centric pathways. The most natural one would be Angel. I think Angel to Dragon is a very natural transition. If you did unlock Azada, Azada is chaotic good. This also kind of works as an option. Aeon is lawful, and it's not necessarily good, evil, or neutral, but it could work. Demon obviously would be something that would be very counterintuitive to it. I don't believe there's anything mechanically that will block you from choosing Demon and then choosing the Dragon from what I have seen. However, it may give you a weird ending because you may be doing some evil acts along the way. So I would recommend Angel, or you could also do Azada if you want. The Azada does give you a dragon that you get to level up a little bit, but remember, once you choose Golden Dragon, you lose all of the perks of whichever path you take, so either Angel or Azada. So think of them as temporary choices. So pick whichever one you think you'd have a little bit more fun with thematically between Act 3 and Act 5. Now, as soon as you get started in Act 3, you're going to be told about a couple situations going on, and one of them is about a dragon that is basically terrifying the countryside. So what you're going to want to do is in Drezen, you're going to want to go ahead and go into the Half Measure Tavern. And there in the corner is you're going to find a bounty hunter. It's this guy right here. His name is Greybor. So you're going to want to talk to him, and you're going to basically want to hire him and tell him that you're going to help him hunt down the dragon. And the quest that is key here is the one that's shown right over here. It's called the Dragon's Hunt. And when you go on the overland map, you basically just have to make your way west out of Drezen, follow these pathways, and you're going to want to go to Grimwood. Now what's going to happen is you're just going to have a series of encounters. You're going to fight the dragon, I believe, 2 or maybe 3 times. I believe 2 times before she makes her way to her tower, her little temporary lair. And you're going to want to go ahead and continuously look on the mini-map, or the main map rather, here to make your way. Now do note, if you ignore this dragon, you will get jumped by her periodically, and later when you get to one of the other major areas in the story, you're going to get jumped by her as well. So you might as well do this quest line regardless of whether you're in a golden dragon or not, but this way it's going to get you to the storyteller quicker. Now once you get to the artisan tower, you're going to have to do a couple of kind of text-based checks on how you're going to get here, and that will dictate the kind of circumstances you arrive in. But what really matters is you get here, and what I recommend that's very important here is don't mess around looting things. If you can pass the skill checks to stealthily get to the dragon, great, but the bottom line is you need to not mess around, and you're going to want to jump this dragon. And once you injure it and it kind of flies away, again, don't loot anything. You're going to want to head straight up, and I'll show you exactly where to head so that you can finish off the dragon at time. If you take too long, the dragon is going to kind of lift off. It's going to burn everything down, and it's going to be kind of like the negative resolution to the scenario here. So make sure that you attack, ignore the looting for now, and then head up to the tower where I'll show you in just a moment. So as you damage the dragon, it's going to fly off, and he'll obviously warn you about this. But again, we're used to in RPGs being able to do things at our own time normally, but not here. So again, just make sure you grab your party,
Godspeed.
ignore all the loots and stuff on the side, run right up here, and make sure you finish off the dragon. Should be quick and easy. At this point, you have an option to stick with Greybor or not, and it's up to you. If you do, you have to pay him a significant sum.
More expensive than from now on. You no longer need to.
So you choose whether you want to keep him or not. He's an okay character. Thematically, he's pretty cool. Slayer is a great class, so it's just up to you whether he fits your style. And then go ahead and talk to the storyteller. He's going to ask you to search the different bookshelves, so go ahead at this point, now that it's safe, loot all the little areas here.
Let us press on. We march ahead. I will see this through.
You can go ahead and inspect the areas around here. Loot everything up for yourself.
Leads on.
There's some elven notes that he looks for. Now up here, there's a couple of knowledge checks you can try and make.
I have managed. I will guide us. The deed is done. The deed is done. Godspeed.
And then go ahead and come back down to the storyteller. And he'll say, have you found what I asked you to do? Splendid. And say, let's get out of this place as soon as possible. All the smoke makes it difficult to breathe. We'll meet in Drezen. So at that point, you can go ahead and leave and head back to Drezen, where we're going to go ahead and meet up with the storyteller. Now, when you're back in Drezen, go ahead and just travel to the Citadel. And then from the Citadel, just go ahead and go straight outside. That's probably the fastest way to get there. And from there, just select to the streets. Now, you're going to go ahead and just head straight down, and as if you're going to be heading out of the Citadel. And right when you get past these gates, make, I guess, for you, your sharp left. And there, right there, is the storyteller. All right, now we're going to want to go ahead and talk to the storyteller. And then you're going to want to select, please examine an item I'm carrying, as before. And he's going to touch him again. And he's going to say, now it is just a shard of the past, but I feel its power. The elf carefully strokes Terendelev's claw. Only great power can resist the most terrifying of enemies, oneself. Please allow me to immerse myself in the memory and learn the story of the spiritual resurrection of the greatest of silver dragons. And then go ahead and select show a piece of Terendelev's claw. Tell me Terendelev's story to the end. The storyteller hangs his head, looking sickly and tired. How many times has the moon died and been reborn since I've been here? I've lost count. My friends brought me here. They said goodbye to me, like always, but they looked at me like it was the last time they'd seen me. Cowards, insidious spawn. They were glad I was going to die, but I'll show them. Terendelev will live. A new Terendelev, whose eyes are finally open. I hear the rustling of wings, and I emerge from the cave where I imprisoned myself. Who is it? A friend? An enemy? Sunbeams refract off his scales as he hovers before me, surrounded by a glowing halo. The gold dragon, Halaseliax. Part of me wants to fly to him and make a circle of honor around him, as any good student should, but the part of me that turned my scales black is ready to seize his gleaming throat. How dare he fly here, flaunting his purity and innocence? He wants to humiliate me, drag me through the mud, but I will show him. No, what am I thinking? My mentor has come all this way to save me, I know. He would never abandon me. Someone called him to my aid. Moving heavily, I take flight to greet him, but my body, controlled by the foulness, straightens like an arrow. His vulnerable throat is so close. One strike, and I will destroy you, Halaseliax. What happened next? Did Halaseliax survive? I don't know. But I know the place where Terendelev was believed to have sought refuge for her tarnished soul. I saw Circorian ruins, a wide-branching tree next to them. Perhaps there will be something there that will shed some light on the fate of the mentor and student. Something that can tell us how Terendelev's strength of spirit helped her to ultimately overcome the foulness within her. Can you say anything about Terendelev's future? The storyteller frowns. It's so strange that you should ask. We all know what happened to Terendelev, but sometimes it seems I hear her voice in the visions. Her voice, full of pain and despair, as if she is in darkness, which she cannot escape. I cannot solve the mystery of this vision, but it worries me. I thank you for the story, storyteller. And right here it says, the storyteller answers bowing slightly and thanks you, Draco. Terendelev's lair has been revealed. So at this point, let's go ahead and go to the world map. So just make your way out of town. And you will notice that Terendelev's lair is southwest of town. It's most likely that you haven't discovered it yet. So you're going to want to head down over here southwest. I'll go ahead and fast forward and I'll show you what happens at this point. And for those that are curious about the actual path, so this is Terendelev's lair. And if we backtrack, it's this way up here. We're going past Winter Sun. And then just straight up through the Lost Chapel up to Drezen. That's how you can backtrack to Terendelev's lair. And we're going to go ahead and go inside. Now once you get in here, there's going to be an encounter of cultists. So just go ahead and head up here. And you're going to have this fight. So go ahead and complete the fight. Now, as soon as the fight ends, Hal is going to show up. Stop! Please stop! The red-haired man raises his hands in a calming gesture. This place is an abode of peace and tranquility, a place to heal the soul and the body. It's not a battlefield. Please spare this man. Who are you? My name is Hal. I am a healer, my lord. By trade and by calling, this place is my infirmary. The people you've killed were those I nursed to health myself. They had scarcely recovered from the wounds when they fell to your sword. At least spare this young boy. Now you can ask him whether it's the cultist or not, but what's very, very important is that you need to spare the cultist. If you execute them or attack him, you will permanently lock out the ability to unlock the Golden Dragon pathway. The best possible option is this one that's as good, spare the cultist. Who knows, perhaps you're right. Maybe this cultist really can change. The man lowers his head. Thank you for your wise decision. It has gladdened my heart. And then you may have responses from your various companions on your actions. And the Baphomet cultist cleric says, "So, I can go?" The boy looks at you with this trust. "I want you to know, I won't change. I will remain your enemy, and Lord Baphomet will give me great powers." Al says, "You're already strong. You do not need to serve demons. When you finally understand this, your soul will find peace. You already possess that which is worth the most, your life." The healer turns towards you. His red hair blows in a wind like tongues of flame, and his hazel eyes turn to gold. His voice becomes deeper and more majestic. "You acted towards this poor boy as Terendelev acted towards you in Kenabres, when she treated you with no consideration of who you were or whether you deserved to live. I can feel the touch of her magic upon you, like a last lingering farewell." The dragon looks down on you from above with every move of his powerful muscles. His golden scales shimmer and shine. Terendelev made the right choice, child, as did you. You were not born a dragon, but the true spirit of a dragon is within you. It is as strong in you as it was in her. Trust me, I knew Terendelev well. I am the gold dragon Halaseliax. It was once my honor to teach the protector of Kenabres. Were you testing me? Life itself was testing you. I merely seized the opportunity to look upon you, the last soul helped by Terendelev. We could use a gold dragon in the Crusade. Do you do us the honor of joining us? Halaseliax shakes his head. Not now, I'm afraid. I have my own responsibilities to metallic dragons, but I will watch you from afar. And if I see you are ever in need of a dragon's wisdom, I will not be the only one willing to come to your aid. I have the spirit of a dragon within me. What am I supposed to do? Remember that life is a journey. Some go through it faster, others slower, but we all reach an end where nothing can be changed. As long as we are alive, so too is the hope of change. While we are living, we can do much good and change the world for the better. I taught this to Terendelev when she was on the brink of despair. She thought that, now tarnished, she was doomed to suffering and evil, but I showed her that as long as we are here, and not at Pharasma's throne, nothing is lost, and no one is lost. Choose the actions that will make the world better. Such is the path of a golden dragon. I know you tried to save Terendelev from corruption. How did you manage to succeed? The dragon closes his eyes for a moment. Terendelev. Here she found shelter, fighting the desire to decimate and destroy. I flew here to help her. The sun rose and fell, more than once as she poured out all her hatred upon me, all the pain that was tearing her soul apart. Many times we found ourselves at one another's throats, ready to fight. Many times her words wounded me deeply, but in the end I got through to her. I found the right words, and I stayed with her in this place of peace and rest until her souls found healing. And I will say, keep these words of Halaseliax in memory, because at the end of the game, it's going to be interesting how everything comes full circle. So do keep that in mind, or check back on this section and see how similar this conversation goes to a select conversation at the end of the game. At this point, obviously, do not attack Halaseliax. Make sure you say farewell, Halaseliax. I would say until we meet again, child. And just like that, you have completed the final requirement in Act 3. So at this point, you're going to want to make your way to the remainder of the story of Act 3. You're going to go into Act 4. And then when you come back to Drezen in Act 5 is where we will go ahead and pick up the story. Alright, now here we are in Drezen, and slight correction. Technically, this is the end of Act 4, I believe. So we've returned to Drezen, we've kind of made our way through the city, and now right here, we are at the steps of the Citadel, and you're going to see Hal yet again. You want to make sure that you interact with him. A familiar red-haired healer brushes some ash from his sleeve and shakes his head as he inspects the pile of charred demon corpses. They were too stubborn to retreat. Their determination could have helped them in life, but instead has only led to their untimely deaths. I regret having to kill them. And so you could ask who he is if you don't remember. And then you can go ahead and ask him, what are you doing here? I debated for a long time whether or not to interfere in Drezen's affairs. However, the words of the loyal warriors who remained behind to defend the fortress touched my heart. I was persuaded to get involved, and none too soon, it seems. Halaseliax gestured towards the demon corpses nearby. And at that point, you can go ahead and, if you're curious, you can say, what happened to the cultist I spared? I heard that he became a healer. I do not know if he still worships Baphomet, but even if he does, I'm certain that he will bring more good into the world than evil. Halaseliax smiles. You should be proud of yourself. You chose to spare him. Thanks to your decision, the world now has another caretaker of the afflicted. At this point, definitely do not do the evil action. Do not attack him. And you can go ahead and say, come with me. You can help me drive away the demons. You're not leading a large force against the demons, and that leads me to believe you do not want to attract attention. And a gold dragon entering the fray is something that attracts a good deal of attention. Trust me. Furthermore, Halaseliax regards you intently. I wish to see for myself what you have achieved over the years. I want to observe how the dragon spirit manifests within you. and then go ahead and say I have to go. Farewell, Commander. This will be a difficult fight, but if you look within yourself, you'll find that your spirit of a dragon, cannot be defeated. If you feel the desire to follow Terendelev's example, come and meet me in Drezen after the battle. If you do not, well, then this will be our last meeting. So this is the point of no return. You're gonna go ahead and head into the Citadel here. Now, once you're in the Citadel, you're gonna go ahead and talk to the Storyteller. And as soon as you do that, it's going to start a cinematic. And I'll go ahead and fast forward to that cinematic right now. And so, here we are. Oh no, there are too many of them. This is useless. We're done for. Don't fall back. Hold the line. The huge oldie Nalfanshni is waiting for you with his army folded. Here comes the commander, kids. Ha ha. So, Commander, do you like what you see? You've arrived just in time to hear your friends screaming for help. They trusted you, and look what's happened to them. Do you actually think you can rescue them? Who do you think you are? And then I recommend the good option, since remember, golden dragons in this game are neutral good, even though in Pathfinder, golden dragons are lawful good. That's a different conversation, though. So good, I'll rescue my friends. The Nalfanshni burst into laughter. I'll rescue my friends. And how exactly will you do that, you pathetic Galarian maggot? What can you do on your own without your army? Yell inspirational speeches? Oh no, I'm so scared. And then all the pathetic defenders of Drezen will be inspired and turn into an invincible force. Ah, yes, that's usually how it goes in fairy tales. Do you know what happened next in real life? We'll wipe your army out, and you along with it. But I won't kill everyone. I'll lock you in a cage, then start torturing your friends. Once I'm done with them, they will come and spit in your face. They'll tell you themselves what torment you doomed them to. You are just a jumped up mortal insect. You are nobody. And you're gonna select good, requires Dragon Mythic Path. I am a gold dragon. My heart is full of compassion, but my spirit is relentless. I will allow those who want to leave to go in peace, but those who stay I will have to destroy. Power rushes through your body, almost ripping it apart. The wound in your chest bursts open in a spray of bloody droplets. The might bestowed upon you by the abyss, and Areelu Vorlesh erupts into this world, and you pay for it in purest agony. Orengofurta, who just a moment ago seemed so vast, so powerful, now seems like a slow-witted bully to you. The demons and the Citadel's defenders are all just poor, misled children who see no further than the tip of their own noses. Your heart fills with compassion for them. The soft glow of your scales touches them all, soothing them with its warmth, and they realize there is no need to fight anymore. Battles are pointless. Life, every moment of it, is the greatest miracle. Preserving it and reveling in each new day is what is truly important. Some of the demons hesitate for a few moments and then leave, wondering what they're doing here and why they got into this fight in the first place. But others are just too angry to retreat. You know that they are no match for a golden dragon, and their sad decision has just doomed them. Battle it is then. So at this point in the story, Ayamede comes down, and she's gonna talk a bunch. And there's also gonna be an interaction with the demons. Now I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward through this conversation because it's quite extensive. But I will go ahead and stop at the point where we are gonna make the decision to choose the path of the Golden Dragon. So here we go. Once you finish the conversation, you power up and you're going to have an option to choose the Gold Dragon finally. So go ahead and select that. And you're going to be able to make some choices. Now, if you haven't seen my video already that goes over all the different options for this, make sure to check it out. It goes over all the abilities at all the mythic tiers. But for now, you're just going to get the level 8 options. So select what you will. And then you have a unique talking option. I thank you both for your wise advice, but take a closer look at me and you'll understand that I don't need it. A golden glow engulfs you. Metal scales appear on your knuckles. Fire erupts from your nostrils. With a shriek, Nocticula shields her eyes. Even Ayamede squints a little as she looks at you.
How beautiful.
What is that? Where did it come from?
So, this is the path you have chosen? Well, I accept your choice with respect. It will not be easy for you, guardian of mortals. Do not expect any gratitude from those you save, and your loved ones will have to pay for every one of your failures. But if you can handle the burden that you have just taken on, then perhaps one day you will understand how I feel, and then we will meet again. And now I bid you farewell.
And just like that, you have unlocked the Golden Dragon pathway as you head into Act 5. Now at this point in Act 5, once everything has calmed down, the very first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go outside of your citadel, and we're going to want to talk to Hal over here. So come on down and let's chat with him. Halaseliax greets you with a nod. His golden eyes gleam. Congratulations on your victory, Commander. That was an arduous trial, but you pulled through. You invoked the dragon spirit within you. I never thought that I would say this, but you can become a dragon, child. I can teach you how to bring your inner and outer form into accord. Once you become your true self, you will achieve harmony. I want you to teach me. What do I need to do? Go to the city square in Kenabres. Terendelev drew her strength from her love for this city and its people. I walked its paved streets with her many times, and I soon realized that Kenabres helped her to heal more than any of my philosophical reflections ever could. Out of respect for her memory, I will teach you in the same place where she fought her final battle. I will make her glad. So at that point, you can talk to her about the other areas and things that you may have inquiries about. But that's the main question and talking point that you need to have with Hal. So I'm going to go and say I have to go. And it's going to go ahead and update your Dragon's Awakening quest. At this point, we're going to go ahead and head out of town. And then before we head to Kenabres, I'm going to show you some of the Crusader elements that have been unlocked now that we are in Act 5. Okay, so once you get to Act 5, there's two things you're going to notice. Number one is you're going to get a brand new buff for choosing the path of the Golden Dragon. It's called Dragon's Treasure. And it basically says all generals get the Dragon Treasure feat. You will also notice that as with all your other playthroughs, your armies from before are pretty much all gone. The good news is you get a very special army to begin with, and it includes 3 different dragons You're going to get 7 brass dragons, you're going to get 7 bronze dragons, and 7 copper dragons. Now later on in the video, I'm going to go ahead and go over all the units and their stats, show you what they're like in combat, and also give you reviews on all the different dragons. But for now, know that you get those. Additionally, let's go ahead and take a look at what that Dragon Treasure feat is. I'm going to go ahead and just assign a new general because the other one is going to be on cooldown. So we'll just pick a random one since it really doesn't matter for showing this off. So here it is, Dragon Treasure. The general provides a +4 bonus to combat morale for all units in their army for every 20,000 finance points, 2,000 material points, and 800 energy points available in the treasury, to a maximum of +60. So basically, it makes sense. You kind of, if you have a big dragon horde, that is pretty crazy. +60 combat morale bonus is pretty nutty. Remember, combat morale is what increases your likelihood of proccing multiple attacks in a round, or basically getting multiple turns is what it really turns out to be. So with the Golden Dragon, once you start hoarding some of these materials, you're going to be able to multi-attack almost constantly, and that's definitely a game changer for the Crusader system. Okay, at this point we're going to head back to Kenabres, and you're going to quite literally come back here to the center kind of square area here, and it's going to be a brand new location. And when we get to center square, you're going to see kind of a cleaned up and rebuilt Kenabres for the most part, except for the world wound you still see here. You want to go up and talk to Hal in human form. Halaseliax breathes in deeply and smiles. Many dragons can't stand the smell of cities. They dislike the stench of the streets and the pollution in the air. But for me, this is the smell of history in the making. Look at these people. Their lives are fleeting, but each of them have hopes and dreams for the future. They may seem insignificant, like small drops of water, but together, they are an unstoppable force, a tidal wave that crushes everything in its path. What do I need to learn to become a true dragon? I will teach you as I taught young Terendelev and her good friend Sevalros. You must learn to trust your heart and not just your mind. You must look past the surface and see the truth of every situation. You will learn humility, patience, and the importance of acting selflessly. I want you to learn how to serve others, to look for those who need help, and do anything they ask of you. What if they ask me to do something dangerous? Listen to your heart. It is easier to reject a call for help than it is to answer it. But it is up to you to decide what is right. I trust you in your wisdom, and you must trust yourself. Why did you choose to teach me here in the town square of Kenabres? The square reminds me of many things. Once I brought 2 young silver dragons here, Terendelev and Sevalros. They were just getting to know the world around them. This was the first city they visited. Just 2 silly children, not yet accustomed to their human forms. Halaseliax sighs. Later, when Terendelev became the guardian of Kenabres, she spent a lot of time here, in the square. She played with the children, talked to the adults, assisted those who needed help, and offered guidance to those seeking counsel. It made her feel like she was part of the city. She lived in harmony with all of the city's inhabitants, and spending time with them gave her so much joy. What are you going to teach me? Humility, understanding, kindness. Every good deed has its price. The time and energy that must be expended to accomplish it. Dragons are blessed with plenty of time and energy, but many of them hoard the minutes of their life like misers. They're stingy of their time, and believe that only great deeds are worthy of notice. However, gold dragons know better. Every life is priceless, and every fate is unique. When you learn this, your heart will be open to the truth. What happened to Sevalros? The corruption did not destroy Terendelev, but it got the better of him. My apologies. It still pains me to speak of this. Let us discuss something else. I'm ready to begin my studies. Very well then. Here's your first lesson. Seek out the weak and defenseless. Look for those who are beset with confusion and dismay. Find those who are lonely and vulnerable, those who need your help the most. Don't try to help everyone yet. 3 souls should be enough for now. So it's going to give you a quest to find 3 different NPCs that can use your help, and they're all going to be in the square. So the first NPC is going to be right down here. You can see Lady in Distress. You see a woman in a clean but worn dress. She looks like she's about to cry. Her eyes are red and puffy, and the outline of her dress hints at the bulging belly of an expectant mother. Yes? What do you want? Do you need any help? The woman's eyes you warily. Well, maybe I do. My husband told me to forget it, but I can't. It's a bit embarrassing, but since you asked, I want cheese so badly. I could scream. But I don't want the normal cheese you can buy on any street corner. I'm craving a special kind of cheese. The cheese of my grandfather used to bring me. The cheese is made from mare's milk, and it has bluish gold mold. They used to make it in Sarkoris before it was destroyed. I could eat a whole wheel of the stuff. All I want is a single piece, just the smallest taste. The woman pats her abdomen lovingly. Then we'd be happy, but you can probably only find it in Drezen. Maybe there's some lying around in a tavern there somewhere. I'll find the cheese you want, if that's what you want. Oh, thank you. No matter how many times I ask, my husband refuses to help. He's busy, you see. I have to go. So there's your first NPC. And then let's go head over here and look for this carefree girl. The little girl sniffles loudly and wipes away tears. My mom told me not to speak with strangers. You look upset. Is there anything I can help you do? You'll help me? Well, it's my birthday and I want a flower crown. The very best flower crown. I want magical Angelblooms, just like in the fairy tale. My mom told me the story. An angel cried because evil demons took over Iz. An Angelbloom grew from his tears. I want those flowers for my crown. Alright, I'll bring you these magical Angelbloom flowers. Hooray! They say that Angelblooms still grow near Iz, but it's really scary there. If you don't want to be scared, just close your eyes and run really fast. That's what I always do. I have to go. Okay, bye. Now, the third NPC can be a little tough to see, actually. So, depending on your camera angle, but he's right here. For me, for a while, it actually kind of blended in because his grayness kind of blended in with the shadows. But if you move your camera, you can see him. The Concerned Philosopher. A deceived old man peers at you nearsightedly. You seem feisty enough, all adventurous, exactly the kind of gentleman I need. Are you in need of my help? Not just me. This is a matter of the greatest importance for the entire academic community of Golarion. Now listen carefully. My good friend and old rival, Master Orivo, believes himself to be a philosopher of the highest order and expert on all forms of written material. Last Monday, over a mug of strong ale, but by yours truly, mind you, he had to nerve to claim that Almeister of Halaseliax did not know how many angels could fit in a single ray of sun. Can you imagine? Almeister of Halaseliax was one who first posed this question and discovered its answer. A 5-year-old would know this, but no. Areelu, the old fool, demands proof. The only proof in existence was stolen by Baphomets a long time ago. I do hope their demon lord at least recognized the treasure he'd been given, instead of using it to wipe his buttocks. Please bring the book back. If Areelu prevails, I will leave Kenabres forever, because a city where such foolishness holds sway, no place for a true scholar. Fine, I'll bring you the book. Splendid! You'll need to search for it right under Baphomet's nose, and an Ineluctable prison. Such important books would no doubt be kept in the prison's master room. I don't have anything to give you in payment, but the pursuit of knowledge is its own reward. I have to go. And just like that? Of course, by all means, don't let me stop you. All right, and so now we have all 3 elements. So some of them are going to be very, very easy. One of them is going to be a total pain, but I'll show you exactly where to go next. Now, once you get done with Kenabres and you head back towards Drezen, you should have a new event pop up called Becoming a Dragon. Now, your timing may be slightly different, but I did find this pops up pretty consistently. And you're going to have a unique option for this because you are going down this pathway. You can have this event pop up, I believe, on other playthroughs, but you are going to be missing the best option. So, a mysterious wanderer who calls herself a Dragon Scion is asking the commander for help. She claims that her heritage grants her the ability to transform into a true dragon. But to do so, she needs to track down an evil dragon, kill it, eat its heart, wash herself in its hot blood. Young woman will need supplies and possibly a number of loyal allies. So you have a couple options. Assist the Wanderer, which is going to unlock the Dragonslayers Adventures decree. And this basically is a decree that's going to just give you a bunch of financial points. You can talk the maiden out of it, and you're going to get basically a general for it. Send worthy knights of the Wanderer, which will unlock campaign against the dragon. So recruitment growth for the trainable cavalry units reduced by 50% for 15 days. And 1 silver dragon is recruited at the commander's headquarters. Then you have take on the young woman as an apprentice and set her on the path of the dragon. This is the good path, and you're going to get 4 dragon scions that are going to be recruited at the commander's headquarters. And I will be showing these off a little bit later again when we look at all the units. Or teach a wanderer the Dragonslayer's craft. And this unlocks raising a Dragonslayer decree. It adds 7,500 finance points and provides a gift for Greyboar. And I believe you do need Greyboar in your party in order to have this option. And it does give you an amazing +5 hand axe. So if you are playing Greyboar with a hand axe setup, this is a really early opportunity to get a quite nice +5 weapon that is just absolutely deadly. So the first part of the Mythic 9 Golden Dragon quest is to get the cheese. And again, you can do these in any order, but I went in the order of difficulty. So you want to go back to Drezen, and you want to go to the Half Measure Tavern, which again is up here in the northeast corner. Go ahead and go inside. Now, you're going to want to go in here and then in the back to find the cheese. Now, it's important to note that they mentioned that the cheese has like a mark of a mare when she were talking. So here it just says Wheel of Moldy Cheese. And so this one has the Soaring Eagle. It's not you can go ahead and take it, but that's not the correct one. Upper right hand corner here, this one is going to have a bear. Again, that's not it. The one that you want is right here. If you click on here, it looks like this, Wheel of Blue Cheese. And it's covered in bluish green mold. It is branded with the image of a mare galloping beneath 3 stars. It also happens to be worth 2,000 gold. But this is definitely the one you want. So go ahead and pick that up. And now you have the first one. Now, do note it doesn't auto-update the quest for you. So if you didn't remember the mare part, hopefully this will help you out. It can be a little confusing for some people. Okay, the second part is going to require you to go to Blooming Meadows, which is just north of Iz. But what's confusing is that you actually have to come in from the north here. So there is a pathway to get to Iz down the south way, but there is no connection there. So let me show you exactly how you get there. So there's basically 2 pathways. You can go through Pulura Falls. Now in this playthrough I haven't gone through here. That's down this pathway here. But the other way around is you just go up here through Sinister Mansion Outpost up here. Here's Blackwater. And you just go, if you were to go backwards, go east, and that gets you right back to Drezen. So again, from Drezen, you want to see the path. Go directly west when you come out. Keep going basically a straight shot west as much as you can. Come down here to Sinister Mansion Outpost, slightly west, and then come on down to the Blooming Meadow. Now, what's important to note is there's going to be a bunch of enemies you got to fight here. So you're just going to need to keep fighting till things get cleared out. So I'm going to do that really quick, and then I'll show you what the flowers look like. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to clear you're going to start here, you're going to go up, 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 around. And when you get to right here where I'm with my group, in this little chasm, you're going to find, there you go, Angelblooms. So go ahead and collect them. You only need to get one of them, and then you're good to move on from here. And the third location that you're going to go to is going to be the Ineluctable prison. And it's actually just northwest of the Blooming Meadow. So if you go back up north, head more west, and then head down here, you're going to head to this area. I will warn you, it is extremely difficult. A lot of tough fights in there. And it's a little hard to find the actual location you need to go to. So right now I'm going to load up. I'm going to fast forward and get to the section where you find the actual book. And I'll show you on a mini-map kind of how you get there to kind of save you time. There's a bunch of extra stuff you can do there that's optional. But if you want kind of the quickest way to get there, I'll kind of show you the pathway. All right, so here I am at the actual location of the book that you need. And it's tucked all the way in this corner. Here it is, the Diary of Almester of Cheliax. You're going to want to go ahead and collect it. So if we take a look at the map, it is way over here. So you actually start down here. So as you can kind of see, there's ways to clear to the right, to the left, a bunch of areas. But the way you want to go is you want to go down here. You're going to make this left here. And then you can basically get into here. Make a right, go down, go make a left here, a little prison area, another left over here, straight ahead. Then you're going to head to the right, all the way through here and into the master's chambers. Everything else here is again optional. There's quests, feel free to go. But again, this is the pathway that you're going to want to follow if you're just here for the book. So I hope that helps you and saves you some time. And at this point, we have all three parts for the quest. So we're going to go ahead and return to Kenabres. Let's go and see what happens when you return all three to Hal. All right, so here we are back in Kenabres. And let's go ahead and return all the items to everybody. So we're going to start with Lady in Distress. Well, do you have something for me? I've brought you cheese. The woman takes the wheel of cheese and sniffs it. Yes. That's it. That's the smell. And look at it. It's thick, solid rind. See the brand here? A mare galloping beneath the stars? That's the brand of the Winstep clan. There are hardly any of them left now. Their graves have been lost to time, and their memory forgotten. But at least you have brought me this small remembrance of them. For that I am so grateful. There were master craftsmen and artisans among them, but they say that the greatest of all was Ruger the White, a cheesemaker. He was not a warrior, mage, or priest, yet his fame spread all across Golarion. I remember him sitting there smoking his pipe as he watched the mares graze on the emerald grass beneath the endless blue skies. And even in the darkest of lands, anyone who had even the smallest taste of his cheese would feel as if they were there, in the field, on that calm and sunny day, and their soul would find joy in existence. The woman nods approvingly. Well done. But of all these cheeses in the world, you've found the right one. This is the cheese I wanted. I believe your keen sense of observations and cheese selection merit a special reward. And she's going to give you some glass, colorful feathers, magical acorns, and shadow clovers. Don't go just yet. I want to ask you something. When my grandfather gave me cheese, he would also ask me a riddle. You need salt to make cheese. Preserves the cheese, but also gives it flavor. What is Golarion salt? What allows us to exist here and make our lives worth living? And so you could say snow, you can say wisdom, or the common folk. And here you should say the common folk. That is correct. Wars come and go, but farmers have been plowing the fields since time immemorial. Spinners and weavers, cheesemakers and woodcutters, horse herds and blacksmiths. The world as we know it would not exist without the common folk. There's no more Rudger the White, no more fields of green, only a scorched waste. I will share this cheese, the Sarkorsians who live here in Kenabres. Together we'll remember what we've lost. Warriors are not the only ones worth remembering. We forget Sarkoris as it was during times of peace. We will forget what it is we are fighting for. Alright, next we want to head on over here. And let's go ahead and talk to the concerned philosopher. Amateurs, amateurs all of them. They seek to pervert priceless knowledge. Here's the book you wanted. The old man squints at the cover nearsightedly. He flicks through a few pages. Yes, this is the one! Oh, you found it! This is superb! Here, look! Large number of angels can dance in a single ray of the sun, and this number should be multiplied by 3 during Farast. Ha! I can't wait to see the look on Areelu's face! You may think this is all nonsense and the book isn't worth reading, but you would be wrong. Almester may have been eccentric, but he had a truly magnificent mind. Not all of his works have been deciphered yet, but this one leaves no room for doubt. Look right here, after the part about the angels. This brilliant scholar just casually jotted down a recipe for an incredible, powerful healing potion, and then went back to contemplating lofty ideas. Such genius of intellect. It was truly one of a kind. No matter how strange a person may seem, you should never dismiss their intelligence, kindness, or wisdom. You never know what you will learn if you simply look at and listen. And don't be hasty. There is always time to stop, investigate things further, and contemplate everything thoroughly. Then and only then will you draw the right conclusions. That is the basis of the scientific approach. That is how you gain true knowledge instead of simply scratching the surface. Now, before you leave, here's a little brain exercise for you. What do knowledge and a sip of water have in common? And the answer is, both can save someone's life. How very true. Couldn't have answered better myself. It only takes a small sip of water to save someone who is dying of thirst, and a book that seems useless may actually save many lives. A wonderful answer, and I'm genuinely grateful for your help. And finally, we got the little girl. I wonder what kind of cake Mom is going to bake. Maybe there'll be frosting. Here, I think these are the right flowers. Yes, you found them. Hooray, thank you. Now we'll have the best crown. All the other girls will be so jealous. Oh, they are so beautiful. Even demons can't ruin Angelblooms. I have a riddle for you. What is stronger than gods, devils, and demon lords? And the answer is hope. You figured it out. How clever. That's the right answer. Hope is like Angelblooms. You can find it even in the most terrible places. These flowers survive in places where nothing else can grow. And hope is the same way. Even if someone is very bad, there's always hope that they'll become nice one day. There's always a chance that goodness will sprout in their heart. And at this point, we want to go and chat with Hal. Halaseliax smiles at you. Well, child, how go your studies? I helped everyone I could find. I'm ready for my next lesson. Halaseliax smiles. Patience, patience, child. I'm pleased with your progress. You overcame your pride and fulfilled the strange, nonsensical request of strangers. These things might have seemed foolish to you, but they were important to those who sought them. I think that the spirit of a gold dragon is strong within you, but my comrades would like to say a few words. Wait, there were dragons? Would have never seen that one coming. Tivanadis. Haha! I haven't had this much fun in a long time. Thank you for asking me to do this, Halaseliax. Never thought I'd find myself helping a warm blood become a dragon. Haha! And I played my role well, didn't I? I was spectacular. Orgomadias. You were overacting, Tivanadis. I could tell. You were putting on a performance. I know copper dragons love a good joke. But Halaseliax asked this commander without arousing suspicion. His plan could have failed because of you. Nina Dalin. Typical Orgomandias. You can't go a year without criticizing someone. I'm surprised Halaseliax asked you to help. I bet you pointed out all the flaws in his plan, too. After all, no warm blood has ever become a dragon before. Halaseliax clears his throat. Tivanadis, Orgomandius, Nidalian, thank you for your assistance. But I do wish that you would put aside your non-stop bickering for just a moment. Nivagar can't get a word in edgewise. So you're dragons too? Why did you decide to get involved? Halaseliax is our dear friend. He told us about you and we were intrigued. Your situation is highly unusual. Truth be told, I didn't expect much out of this little exercise. Just thought it would be entertaining, a way to stave off boredom. We have exceeded all my expectations. It has truly been an honor to meet a warm-blood creature of the soul of a dragon. First, Halaseliax pretended to be a healer, and now this? Do dragons enjoy deceiving people? Different dragons enjoy different things. I enjoy jokes and games, so when Halas asked for my help, how could I refuse? Strange people asking you to bring them unusual things. It sounded so amusing. We had so much fun coming up with the silly things to ask. Dragons often take human form. Sometimes they do it because they're bored, and sometimes they do it because it is necessary to achieve some greater purpose. For example, they may disguise themselves as druids, ask the crusaders to give them the woundworm eggs the commander took from Ivory Sanctum. Thank you for those, by the way. Rest assured, we'll take good care of them. So, how did I do? Did I pass the test? And by the way, so this element right here is unique. So hopefully you followed my tips earlier in the guide, where you save those eggs from the golems, and then this was what it led to. So how did I do? Did I pass the test? Your performance was satisfactory. You passed the test that many dragons would have failed. I can assure you that some dragons would not have understood the point of our request. But you've shown humility and a commendable desire to help others. Please accept the potion that was created from the recipe, the book you saved. Your concerns seem sincere, and I like to believe that your kindness was genuine. So, Silver Dragon, I believe kindness and sincerity are of utmost importance. However, it's not just the soul that needs to be nourished. You must also sustain your body. Here's a slice of Master Rudru's cheese. You should try some the next time you make camp. Just remember to eat it slowly, savor its flavor, and be graceful. So they give you a potion of critical wounds, and also the cheese. Oh, you did such a great job. I would have loved to give you even more errands. I'm very happy for you, dragon. Oh, by the way, here's the Angelbloom crown. I actually made a wreath from the flowers. What's my next lesson? This is going to be more of a request than a lesson, but I'm bound to send you somewhere that will enrich your soul and mind. Deep within the wound, a sacred egg is hidden in the caves known as Dragon Burial Ground. The child inside the egg is the last of the divine dragons. His name is Jharsygax, Agamaramanaali Nyandre. And a side note, if you remember from earlier in the guide, the longer a dragon's name is, the basically more royal and more powerful they are. So based off that, this dragon is just bonkers, because that name is just insane. Anyways, back to the text. The legends say that Jharsygax will become even more powerful than Apsu once he hatches. He will change the world forever. And Apsu is the Waybringers, one of the oldest and mightiest creatures in existence. And his mate was Tiamat, who spawned the dragon gods, created the whole world. So this little dragon is a big, big deal. For centuries, metallic dragons have protected the egg from chromatic dragons. The silver dragons wanted to make sure that no one would steal the sacred child, so they appointed a guardian to look after Jharsygax. Hokugal Ruzivrath. But that was 2,000 years ago, and I am starting to worry. Please go pay Hokugal a visit. We haven't heard from him in a long time. Don't worry. He'll recognize the gold dragon with you. And if you win his trust, he will let you see the resting place of the sacred child. They say Jharsygax can reach out through his dreams and bless the souls of other dragons. Who knows? Perhaps you will be blessed, and if not, well, I'm sure your conversation with Ogagal will still prove beneficial. There's much he can teach you. The Dragon Burial Ground? I know that place. An archaeologist by the name of Lathamus, the antiquarian, asked me to escort him there. Halaseliax looked surprised. An archaeologist? Strangers and outsiders should not be snooping around the Dragon Burial Ground. The alarm bell did not ring, and must not pose a threat, but still. That man is there when you return. Please ask him to leave. The sacred child should not be disturbed. You can ask him about who his parents are, but again, I just cannot give that away. Alright, so then you're going to want to say, I'll go there now. Safe travels. I hope you return with good tidings. So, just like that, it is time to go meet the Chosen One. Okay, once we have finished that part of the quest in Kenabres, before we head over to the burial ground, you should get some opportunities to have a couple of decrees to start popping up. The timing on this may differ slightly for you, but I wanted to point them out. The first one that's really big is called Wounded Dragon. So, during the exploration of the catacombs under an ancient temple, soldiers have come upon a heavily wounded dragon. Someone had been putting the poor creature through agonizing torture for years, driving it mad. The officers are uncertain what to do with the creature. Now, there are numerous options that will pop up, because this can pop up if you're playing a non-Golden Dragon pathway. But if you are playing the Golden Dragon pathway, you have this unique choice here. And it's called Heal Another Member of Dragonkind, both his mind and body. And what's really nice, obviously it's a good action, and it's going to unlock the Healing Kindred Decree. And this is really key, because this is your first opportunity to get a gold dragon, and they are incredibly powerful. When we go and look over at the different units, I will review this unit as well, but just note it is by far the best dragon. So if you get this decree, you're going to get one golden dragon. It's going to be recruited at Commander's Headquarters. It's going to add 3,000 leadership experience, and it's only for 27 energy points. Now, it may not seem like a lot to get just one dragon, but remember, we can use the special tactics to multiply any given monster or creature or any recruitable unit that you have in your army, or not even recruitable, any unit at all that you have in your army. And we will, of course, review this in the unit section as well. So if you want to get a bunch of golden dragons, this is the first opportunity for you to start gathering them up. And here is that decree that you're going to get. So again, the actual decree is called Healing the Kindred. It's going to take you 5 days to resolve. And as noted, you're going to get that golden dragon as your reward. Alright, so next we're going to want to head over to the Dragon Burial. And the Dragon Burial is here in the northwest corner of the map. It is northwest of Dragon's Fury, the location here. Northwest of the Petrified Library. So let me kind of show you how to get there. So if you backtrack, here's the Temple of the Good Hunt. Here's Drezen. So all you do is you head out west. And over here at this intersection, you're actually going to go north to the Gloomy Gorge outpost. You could also technically go around it if you haven't conquered it. But you can go up here to the northwest, and we are at the Dragon Burial. Alright, and here we are at the the Dragon Burial Ground, not the Golden Dragon Burial Ground. You're going to want to buff up and head inside. Now inside, you're going to basically want to clear away back to where you had probably previously gone to. So in an earlier act, you would have come here and kind of checked things out, but you wouldn't be able to make progress. And then literally all you're going to do is going to make your way across here, run over here, and let's show you what happens once you get here. So once you arrive, get this cutscene where this black dragon is just open a can of whoop ass. You can't keep the alarm bell silent forever. Have Lathian, when it rings, the fury of the metallic dragons will descend upon you. They'll protect the sacred child. I don't need to silence the bell. I'm going to destroy it. But you won't be alive long enough to witness its destruction. Okugal, stop! Stop him! The silver dragon tries to rise, but he is too weak. He's a priest of Dahak. He wants to take the child. I am Hokugal Ruziref, the protector of this cave. I beseech you, help me. Vanquish him, protect the child. Lathimas, the black dragon turned slowly in your direction. The Metallics were too frightened to challenge me themselves. Instead, they have sent a commander. This is most unfortunate. Well then, what will you do, Commander? Will you allow the metallic dragons to continue hiding that which belongs to all of us, or will you slay the Keeper and change the course of history? You must decide quickly. So basically, you can either side with the evil dragon here, or you could side with the good guys, which is the silver dragon. So it's obviously very important to note that if you want to go down the path of the golden dragon, you're going to want to side with the keepers here. So regardless of which side you choose, the game will allow you to slay one or the other, and you will have the opportunity to get the child to go beside you. But because we are kind of going down the side of the golden dragon, we will side with the good guys. So I'll help you. I'll help Hakugal, the keeper. Hakugal, I don't have the strength to fight, but please defeat him and take the egg. You have my blessing. Lathimas, what a surprise! Another metallic dragon has decided to claim the egg as his property. Well, you have made a grave mistake. And that's going to go ahead and start this fight. Since you already have your dragon form, this shouldn't be too difficult, but let's go ahead and see what happens once you are done with this fight. Please go see if the egg is unharmed. So at this point, you're going to want to go ahead and go in here into the door. And here is the egg. So go ahead and approach it. Click on it. As soon as you touch the egg, it cracks. You watch a small, strong wings break through the shell, and then a tiny, iridescent dragon emerges. He stretches as if he just woke up from a long sleep. Looks at you, questioning with his big violet eyes. You obviously have three options: good, chaotic, and evil. We're going to go with good. Hi there, little one. Don't worry. I won't let anyone hurt you. Jharsygax, and I'm mispronouncing that, I'm sure. The dragon lets out a happy squeak and flaps his wings. His gleaming scales are the color of gold. He is watching you closely. And when you look into his eyes, a shiver runs down your spine. This is an ancient, powerful creature, a creature as old as time itself. Hakugal looks like he's about to collapse. The sacred child. He pauses and gazes at the little dragon in stunned silence. Then he laughs with joy. Oh, my child. Oh, Jharsygax Aga Mornalayandre, you little wonder. You finally decided to make your appearance. Remember, guys, the longer the dragon name, the more ancient and more powerful the dragon is. So this is a really long name. It's kind of like my last name, I feel like. And so, yeah, very, very ancient, very powerful. Jharsygax's gleaming scales are now silver. He spreads his wings happily, but does his best to stay close to you. I see. I've grown too old now, and can't protect you as I once did. So you've chosen yourself a new guardian, if such is your will. So you can obviously talk in various ways here. And we're going to go ahead and say, what am I supposed to do with him? Care for him, raise him into a strong, magnificent dragon, a new deity of goodness and order, who will make the world a better place. Now I can finally be at peace. My duty is done. You must look after the divine child. You will help him usher in the dawn of a new glorious era. And you can, of course, say, if you're curious, I'll go ahead and put this. What if I raise him to be a creature of chaos?
It's not my power to stop you. Not even the great Apsu could prevent you from raising the child as you wish. But metallic dragons dream of a better world. It is in our nature to hope. Have faith in Jharsygax Aganamornarnilandre. He represents the dawn of a new era. Nothing can blemish his pure soul. Farewell, Okugal Ruzrafef. Farewell, Commander, and farewell to you. J.A., as I'm going to call for short here. Grow big and strong and kind, just like your great father. Hello, Dragon flaps his wings, and farewell. So what's really cool about this little dragon, too, is you can actually equip him. Obviously not when you're in dragon form, but when you equip it onto your item bar, you can have him come out and he'll kind of fly around. He's adorable. I'll show you in just a second. And also, he randomly provides additional 1d4 cold, fire, acid, or electric damage on a successful hit with a weapon. So, pretty cool little effect. In case you're wondering, here's what the little guy looks like. Don't mind me, I'm like in giant form. That's one of my spells. But here he is flying around, looking adorable. So, probably the coolest little pet you can have in a game. Tiny, tiny little dragon, unimaginable cosmic powers. Alright, so at this point you want to go back to Kenabres and head back to the Kenabres Square. And once you're here, head straight to the center of town. We got all the epic dragons. And talk to Hal. Halaseliax gives you a friendly nod. Do you wish to ask me something, child? Reveal the tiny dragon. There's no need to worry. I saved the egg. Something else happened. Look. He hatched. He finally hatched. He's so cute. I knew that a good dragon would hatch from the sacred egg. Orgomandius. Appearances can be deceiving. Look at the child more closely. He keeps changing his colors, as if he is not sure whether he will bring good or evil into the world. No one knows what the future holds, but at least this divine child will have the most worthy guardian. And Alan, a unique guardian for a unique child. The two of you have something in common. No one could predict what you'd become when you received your power, Nivagar, but you chose to be a gold dragon. Perhaps the child will follow your example. And then you may get feedback from some of your companions here. We can speculate about the future later, but for now, let us return to the matter at hand. Nivagar, it was no accident that the child chose to hatch when it sensed your presence. You have shown us time and time again that you possess the spirit of a pure, wise creature. You are one of us, and yet you are something greater. We are honored to know you. And this is exactly how you unlock Mythic 9 progression for Golden Dragon. I, Nidalin, a silver dragon, swear loyalty to you, Gold Dragon Nivagar. I will fight by your side and protect you. I, Halaxian, a gold dragon, swear loyalty to you, Gold Dragon Nivagar. I will fight by your side and give you counsel. I will call upon every dragon I know. The time has come for us to take part in a crusade, and you shall lead us forth. I have faith in you, my child. I hope to see you in Drezen. I have a personal request that I would rather not discuss here. Alright, so once a dragon leaves, so the next part is going to be a conversation with Halaseliax. So before we head to Drezen, though, you get to upgrade to Mythic 9. Now, for Mythic 9 progression here, let's take a look. You're going to get a bunch of upgrades. This is the biggest upgrade. That's level 2 of your Golden Dragon. And it's going to basically be the big upgrade that's going to lead you for the most of the remainder of the game. As you're going to see, Mythic level 10 is going to be right at the end. Now, if you want to take a full look of all the options for you, do check out my specific Mythic Golden Dragon video that goes over all the options. But let me kind of show you real quick kind of the main elements here. You're going to get Perfect Mind. This is a huge buff to you. So the Golden Dragon gains immunity to mind-affecting effects and spell resistance equal to 15 plus your character level and half your Mythic rank. So if let's say you're level 20 and Mythic rank 9 right now, for example, let's say that's what you got to before getting to the end part of this game. That's going to be what? It's going to be 25, 34, or sorry, half of your mythic ranks rounded up. So you're going to be getting around 30 spell resistance, which is pretty nice. And then it says if your base attack bonus is less than 15 plus mythic rank, you'll gain a bonus up to that number. So this is a big deal because remember, if you're a hybrid character like my current character is, or you're pure caster, you're going to get either half Bab or 3/4 Babs, meaning like let's say a sorcerer, a level 20 will only have a Bab of 10. Here, for example, you're going to be getting 15 plus your mythic rank. So let's say you're mythic rank 9. You now have a base attack bonus of 24. So that's higher than full Bab, which is very, very powerful. And obviously you can get it up to 25. All skills become class skills for you. If you have less ranks in a skill than your mythic rank, you gain a bonus up to that number. So this is huge. So you're going to get up to 9 ranks in all your skills. I'll show you what that looks like in a second. If any of your attributes before modifiers is less than 18, you gain a bonus up to that number. So your minimum stats are going to be 18 now. Bonus to your highest ability score is increased to +6. Any spells dealing damage now change their dice to a D8 if it was not D8 or greater. If it is a D8 or greater, the spell instead +1 bonus to damage per die. So that's huge, huge deal there. You're going to get 3 different dragon feats. This is important because they ignore all the prerequisites. Now, this was kind of bugged in the past. I haven't done a full testing on to see if they've been all fixed, but I'm sure a majority of them have been fixed in patches. You're going to get the golden dragon form, which is absolutely bonkers. So this basically gets even more powerful. So it's a +10 size bonus to strength and +8 size bonus to constitution. You get a +8 form natural armor bonus. Blind says 60 feet. You gain 1 bite, which is 2d8 base, 2 claws attacks, 2d6, 2 wing attacks, 1d8, and a tail slap, 2d6. So if you look at it, you're not going to have a total of 6 attacks, natural attacks. Of course, you're going to get a mystic ability. You also have the choice of either keeping your portrait or swapping to the golden dragon portrait. So in Mythic 9, I just wanted to quickly show you here how your stats will be updated. So you'll notice all your stats are now base modifier 18 before your modifications. And then your highest stat is going to get buffed as well. So here's, for example, my strength is the highest one. Now I do want to point out that you are supposed to have all your skills become class skills. And then you're supposed to get a minimum number of skill ranks in them that are equal to your mythic rank. Now this is an old save file. I actually did this playthrough months ago, and I'm re-recording this now. So there have been numerous patches that I think fix things, but I don't believe some of these elements were retroactive. So if you look at my character, unfortunately, like low religion, you'll notice it has still 0 ranks in it. And I'm not getting bonuses for them being class skills like some of these other ones. So again, do note that for me, this isn't accurate. But if you were to do a new playthrough, it should not be an issue. So at this point, we're going to continue the Mythic quest line, a conversation of Halaseliax. And so you're going to head back to Drezen. And again, you're going to go to the little courtyard right outside of your citadel here. And Hal's going to be hanging out. You can go ahead and talk to him. Halaseliax is up in the sky. Beautiful weather we're having today. Then again, I think any weather is beautiful. And you can say, what did you want to ask me? Halaseliax bows his head. Something that I was unable to do myself, child. In our conversations, I mentioned having other students. Sometimes we simply went our separate ways. In other cases, they went on to become teachers themselves. However, there's one amongst them that I consider to be my greatest failure, Sevalros. He was Terendelev's friend, and he's her sworn brother. He was just as eager to seek justice and pursue good deeds. But like Terendelev, he fell victim to corruption. Terendelev was held in such high esteem. She was adored by everyone. I even called her my best student. Over time, envy took root in Sevalros' heart. He wanted to prove himself to me. He flew toward the wound and declared that he would solve everything himself. Halaseliax shakes his head. I thought he was dead. By the time I discovered that what had really transpired, I was too late. When I saw Sevalros, the corruption had taken hold. His scales were as black as coal. He would not listen to me. We fought, but I could not bring myself to kill him. I would have been like murdering my own child, so I flew away. I have heard rumors of a black dragon who resides in the wound and desolates Mendevian hamlets. These stories haunt me. They hurt my soul. I am plagued with doubt about the choice I made. Please find Sevalros and decide what his fate should be. I will help Sevalros. Just tell me where to find him. You have my deepest gratitude, dear child. Halaseliax smiles sadly. Last time I saw Sevalros, he was in a cave near Iz. Dragons often stay in the same place for long periods of time. It's possible he is still there. So at that point, you can't converse with him, but we have everything we need, so we're going to head and say, I have to go. Safe travels, child. So now we need to head over to continue down Brother in Shadow. So we're going to go and find Sevalros' lair. Now, Sevalros' lair is all the way in the southwest. So it is really of the map. It's, as far as I know, the furthest southwest point you can go. So let me kind of show you how to get here. To give you an idea for reference, here is Iz. And so let's kind of work backwards to get here. You would need to go down basically the most south path. And this can be a little counterintuitive because you would think there may be other ways to get here, but this is the only pathway as far as I know to get down here. So you need to go basically, if we're going backwards here, going to be past the Mount Warden Outpost. You're going to want to go all the way to the east. And here's Terendelev's lair for reference. And if you go northeast of that, we're backwards. Here's Wintersong. And here's Drezen. So let's kind of work backwards from Drezen, or forward from Drezen. Drezen, head south past Lost Temple. South to Stone Maze. Go southwest from here past Wintersong. You're gonna, when you see Terendelev's lair, do not go west. Go south. And at this first four-way stop, you're gonna go west. Keep going west. You're going to need to take Mount Warden Outpost. Keep going west. Keep going west. You're going to go past closed portal to an Ineluctable prison. And there is Sevalros' lair. And by the way, the lair is pretty small. So you're just going to go north and then east and then kind of south here. So you find Sevalros. I'm going to have a chat with him. The dragon stares at you with unblinking eyes, and his pupils have narrowed into slits. His scales are coated in dirt and grime, but they do not look black. What's that noise? You're here to steal my treasure. I know it. See the greed in your tiny eyes, warm blood. Everyone's after my treasure. Humans, dwarves, demons, devils. You're all consumed by greed. Treasure, this is just useless junk, you can say, but don't say that. The option we want is, I was sent here by your teacher, Halaseliax. He implores you to return to the light. Halaseliax, that coward, fled when I challenged him to a battle. Now he sent you, a Warmblood? Ha! Not even Terendelev. You? I would have loved to have a chat with Terendelev. Would have ripped the heart out of her chest. I'd give her a taste of my suffering. Then you're going to want to say, a gold dragon calls to your soul, Sevalros. Terendelev would have been devastated to see you like this. Fight the corruption for her sake. You don't know what it's like. Sevalros falls silent. Terendelev, she must not see how I have fallen. No, never. He gets pretty angry. Sevalros is breathing heavily, but his eyes are no longer clouded. His gaze is clear and bright. Terendelev, it's been so long since I thought of her. I was too ashamed. I didn't want her to see me like this. Tell me, how is she? Please tell me she hasn't ended up like me, twisted by hatred, lying on a heap of rubbish, left with nothing but broken hopes and shattered dreams. Tell me she's all right. And then you have an option of how to say, but we're going to go ahead and say, good. Terendelev died a hero. She fell while defending Kenabres. Her selfless act will never be forgotten. Sevalros closes his eyes and exhales in relief. Yes, she died with honor. She did not stray from the path of good and stayed true to her beliefs. In a way that I could not. My sister really was the best of us. I do not deserve forgiveness. I am too weak. I succumbed to corruption. I wanted to be a hero. I wanted to make my sister proud, but I failed. My fate is in your hands. You believe that I deserve death, so be it. I am too weak and worthless to withstand a corruption that eats away at my soul. You are not weak, Sevalros. You refuse to kill me. Do you know what that means? You are stronger than the corruption. You will find your true self again. You've already taken the first step. Sevalros grows menacingly, as if he's trying to scare you away. Eventually, however, calms down. His scales grow brighter. Gold Dragon, if this is the first step, then I only have taken it thanks to your help. We shall meet again someday, but it will be a very different encounter to the one we had today. I swear. So this is the pathway if you basically save him. Of course, at any point you could fight him and kill him, and that will greatly disappoint Hal. But again, in this playthrough, we are kind of really feeding into the Gold Dragon path and being really good. So at this point, you're going to want to go head back to Drezen to talk to Hal. Now, when you return to Drezen, depending on your situation and timing, there's going to be a couple of events that can proc. I'm going to go over them right now as I'm returning to Drezen. So the first one is an event called Principles of Drake Training. So an eccentric Crusader Knight has secretly hatched a Rift Drake from an egg and is trying to train the vicious creature. The Drake has already killed several servants, but it is beginning to obey some of the command issued to it. The noble is asking for permission to obtain a few more Drakes. So you have a couple options. You can permit the request, and if you do this, this is a chaotic action. So remember, the Void Drakes are they're not like Gold Drakes. They are, obviously, as Nate's chaotics, and this would allow you to get an ability for all your generals that let you summon Rift Drakes. So if you take a look at them, they're stat-wise, they're not as powerful as some of the greater Drakes. They don't cost very much. So in a way, you could theoretically, these are units that could scale quite well. They do have 2 different attacks here if you were to get a bunch of them. But again, this option will just let you summon them into battle. You can choose to kill the Drake and punish the Knight. Then you could also convince the Knight to train something more peaceful. If you do this, you're going to get mount training. All cavalry units gain a swift mount feat for 30 days. So it's a repeatable decree. And swift mount is going to give them +1 speed bonus, so they move 1 more tile. You could also reform the Drake. This is the good choice. And this unlocks the Drake Leader Decree. So this is unique to the Golden Dragon pathway. And this lets you get 25 of these Drakes. And the reason this is important is this option lets you get them permanently. And so at that point, even though you can't recruit them normally, you would be able to amass them in large numbers if you wanted to. So we will go over these and their stats in a battle in just a little bit here. And then your final option is keep the Drake in chains and use its venom. Unlocks the Drake's Poison Decree. All generals get a +1 level to the poison ability. So this is just simply poison 1, for example, and it's going to add a poison effect to the unit's melee attacks. So I obviously recommend Reform the Drake. This is the good form, and you're going to get these cool dragons. So the Drake is still young and inexperienced. The commander's guidance will overcome its evil nature and nudge it towards walking the path of Apsu, who knows how many more drakes the commander will be able to educate. That's a cool little effect. And then you should also get a Dragon's Advice. So this should proc. And so even though we're going to go talk to Hal for the main quest line, this is something that should proc when we first arrive and is going to give us some choices. So let's go ahead and take a look what the Dragon's Advice is. Alright, so let's go ahead and head into Drezen and just head right into the Citadel. And this should proc the event of Hal. Halaseliax nods courteously to you. Greetings, Nivagar. I've come to you with troubling news. The seeds of discord have been sown between those who now share Drezen by your will, the dragons and the crusaders. He frowns. Living in such close quarters to mortals is causing friction with my kind. The crusaders believe dragons look down on them, and the dragons complain about the lack of respect from their warm-blooded allies. Pains me that our brethren cannot find it in their hearts to tolerate each other, even in the face of the danger that threatens us all. He looks up at you. Perhaps it's time to remind some of them that strength lies in being united. So, you're going to have three main choices here. You can, of course, say, I am glad to see you. Would you like to help me lead the Crusades? It is strange to hear of such juvenile behavior by hardened warriors and long-lived dragons. But the main choices are as such. The first one is the Crusade should humbly heed the dragon's wisdom. And this is going to give you 7 brass dragons are going to be recruited to the commander's headquarters. So if you like the brass dragons, which again we're going to take a look at really shortly, this is the option for you. The dragons must swallow their pride. They are guests here. This will all generals gain 100,000 experience and a +1 level to their striving for distinction feat. So the generals have 10% bonus to gain experience points per level of this feat. So if you're into leveling your generals up, if you have multiple generals especially, this is a lot of EXP. Or you can leave things as they are and increase the Crusader morale. For the sake of here, of kind of sticking with the Golden Dragon pathway, I'm on a kind of side of the dragons here. But we'll go ahead and choose this option here. Get access to the dragons. He nods in agreement. This is true. While it is difficult for anyone to admit their knowledge is lacking and their virtues are not limits, I'm sure the Crusaders can handle it. Since we are done here, I will take my leave. I hope the next time we meet, I will bring good news rather than a sad news of strife between our people. At this point, we can actually head outside because now we want to actually continue down a quest. And this is going to be the Brother in Shadow quest line. I'm going to find Hal right outside here again as before in a courtyard. This is a pretty cool scene because Gold Dragon meeting Gold Dragon. You're kind of on similar terms now. Let's go ahead and talk to him. Halaseliax gazes up at the sky. Beautiful weather we're having today. Then again, I think any weather is beautiful. And you can now have a new option. Sevalros admitted the error of his ways. He has taken the first step towards redemption. Halaseliax's eyes shine with happiness. My child, these are the greatest tidings I have received in centuries. You have brought me such joy today. I truly believe that a day will come when Sevalros and I will finally reconcile. May not be today or tomorrow or even years from now, but we dragons are nothing if not patient. I'll try to pay him a visit sometime. He's in need of a friend at the moment. And that's all the main new things for now. Safe travel, child. So for now, that's going to kind of, at this point, kind of end the Mythic questline chain. It will pick up in just a little bit. Now, at this point in the game, you basically have 3 things to do. The main next thing that's going to happen is you're going to be making your way towards Is. You're also going to be working on taking over the remainder of the kind of enemy towns / towers and keeps, etc. So you're going to be working on that. And as you work towards this, there's going to be one more Dragon's Advice event that I found to pop up. So this is another option while Hal's going to come to you. And so you're going to need to head back to the Citadel. So we're going to take a look at this before we look at all the units and before we head towards Is and then start heading towards the very end of the main story. So let's take a look. We're going to go back into Drezen and so see what happens at that point. Halaseliax's face contorts with grief. I was afraid this would happen. Blood has been spilled between dragons and mortals. One of your warriors boasted of his victory over a dragon corrupted by chaos who joined the demons. My kin, the dragon Halaseliax, heard him and recognized the name of the defeated dragon as one of her children. The knight's proud words cut her to the quick. Halaseliax demanded silence from the mortal, but he refused. Sir Clefton, that was his name, bore his own share of suffering before he died. Halaseliax's son slew 2 of Sir Clefton's brothers. The pain bore by both Halaseliax and Sir Clefton is too great. They were unable to find a better way to express it than to challenge one another. Now, both brave Sir Clefton and the good Halaseliax are dead. They exchanged 2 blows, then they both fell to the ground lifeless. And now Drezen is torn apart by unrest. Mortals prepare to take arms against the dragons, while dragons spread their wings, ascend to the sky to unleash their fire on mortals. If you do not intervene, night will be the last of the crusade. So big choices here. You can either say, I understand Halaseliax's pain and share her grief. Let many mortals pay the price of their lives. So this will give you 7 copper dragons. Sir Clefton was within his rights. I promise to protect soldiers from dragons to stop their reprisals. You're going to get 4 Dragonslayers. They're going to be recruited at Dragon's headquarters. Range units effective against the most dangerous opponents. Or we should mourn the losses together. Night fight over them. So this is, you would get all dragon units gain the Defenders of Mortals feat. Unit has a +2 bonus to attack against demons and a -2 penalty against other creatures. Unit. So this is actually not a bad buff since you're going to be fighting in endgame pretty much all demons and almost nothing else. So this is kind of like the more, I guess you could say neutral pathway, neutral good. The Dragonslayers are interesting units. We will take a look at those as well if you choose them. They're extremely powerful. At the same time, they're also extremely expensive, so it's hard to get a lot of them. They are grand tier units, pretty much the best ranged units in the game. So since I want to show you guys the Dragonslayer units as an option for this pathway, we will go ahead and select this middle choice that will unlock the Dragonslayer. So Sir Clefton was within his rights. I promise to protect the soldiers from dragons to stop the reprisal. I see. The responsibilities for their lives rest on your shoulders, and so I understand you. The Crusaders must not view us as a threat to their safety. The knowledge that they could come and kill us gives them peace. So be it. Forgive me, but I must hurry to share your words with everyone. I will return once the embers of discord have been extinguished. So at this point, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go and take a look at all the potential Golden Dragon unit options for the Crusade system. I'm going to go into some battles, show you what they look like, go over their stats, give you some feedback on them before we continue on to kind of the penultimate events of before we go to the ultimate end game. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, before I show you, well, basically one of the possible endings for the Golden Dragon pathway. Alright, we're going to start by showing off the first 3 main dragons that you're going to get access to. We're also going to go over 2 other units, the Dragonheir Scions and then the Dragonslayers. And then after this batch, I'm also going to show you 2 more units, including the Golden Dragon, which is going to be kind of the ultimate dragon. But for now, let's go ahead and compare the first 3 dragons we have. So we're going to go ahead and start out with the Bronze Dragon. So what kind of stats and what are we looking at here? Alright, so we're going to start and look at the Bronze Dragon. I want to point out that they have buff dragons. They've given them numerous abilities since I first played this. So some of this may be a little buggy for me. My original save file for this playthrough is a couple months old. And then when I was doing this recording recently, I want to point out that they added numerous abilities for these dragons. For example, looks like there's this fog cloud, which is a permanent effect now on the dragon. So you'll notice unit and all adjacent allies get a +4 bonus to AC against range attacks for 1 round at the start of each round. So it's kind of this definitely was not something that Bronze Dragons originally got. So that will impact their stats. Now overall, as you see here, 141 morale. That's really high morale. This is going to increase your chance of getting basically proccing an extra turn. It's going to get you more attacks. 409 health, 25 power, This is important for calculating the breath attacks that you're going to see below. 30 AC and a damage reduction of 3, which is decent. The bronze dragons are electricity based, so they're immune to sleep paralysis and being knocked down. He does get a lot of attacks. So you're going to have your bite attack. Then you're going to have 2 melee attacks, 2 wing attacks, and a tail attack. And then there's going to be a couple features that are kind of really cool for the dragon. So you're going to get a breath attack option. And so this is a front cone. Now do be careful. As you can see here, you can hit your own allies as well. The calculation for electricity damage is power, which is 25 as we saw, times 2d8 times number of units. So this will scale really well if you get a lot of these units. And it also stuns all units for 3 rounds. So the stun effect is very, very powerful. This is the main reason you'd probably want this more than the damage. 3 rounds is a long stun. Now, you also have a couple toggleable abilities. So the first one is Thunder Tread. So all enemies within a 7-foot burst are going to, centered on a caster, are going to get a -4 penalty to attacks for the next turn, and you can deal attack damage to all enemy units within a radius of 2 squares. So this is important because it's not going to impact enemies. Because these dragons are so large, it's likely you're going to have like a mosh pit of enemies. This is going to help out with that. So there's that ability. You also have a toggleable blow through. So if the unit receives a -4 penalty to attacks on its next attack, what is toggled? But the unit's next melee attack will deal full attack damage to the target and half attack damage to all enemy units in a cone behind the target. So this is if you kind of are surrounded by enemies. This will, even though you have a lower chance to hit, if you do hit, you're going to do full damage. That's really cool. Of course, this is a dragon, so it's flight, so you can kind of fly over enemies, fly over friends, fly over kind of like obstacles, anything like that. So they're pretty cool. Let's kind of take a look at what they look like. So I'll just go fly up here and do an attack. So again, and I just procced a second attack. As you saw that, you're going to see that a ton with the dragons. And let's go ahead and show you kind of Thunder Tread as this option here. There you go. So again, I have 26 of them. Wasn't a huge amount of them yet, but it's still decent. What I'm definitely going to recommend is focusing on one dragon that you want and getting them buffed up using the abilities that we have in the Crusade system that we'll take a look at in a second again to max it out. Now, next we're going to look at the Copper Dragon. So the Copper Dragon, let's take a look at here. And again, it defaults of blow through on, but you can toggle it off or on. This dragon also has really nice morale, 141. Has 424 hit points, so a little bit more hit points. Same power of 25, a little less AC, 28 AC. So the other dragon was lawful good. These are chaotic good. They also have speed 5, so they're pretty mobile. And this one is acid based, and it's immune to sleep, paralysis, and being knocked prone. And again, they did buff these dragons across the board. I think as far as the number of attacks, if I remember back in the day when I first did this playthrough, they didn't all have this many attacks, but you'll notice a bite attack, 2 claw attacks, 2 wing attacks, and a tail attack. Decent damage when it adds up. It's okay. Again, I think I may have some bug. I don't know why they're showing -5 on all these dragons for the modifiers. They have 25 strength. I'm not seeing debuff, so maybe just because of my save file. So this should be a little bit more damage. Just do note that you can, if you're looking at this should be like 2d6 plus modifiers, 1d8 plus your strength modifier. I don't know why they're minuses, but so that's important to note. Now you're going to have Thunder Tread as before. You're going to have blow through. You're going to have flight, but now you're going to have basically slow breath. So this is a conal attack, acid attack. Unit creates a cone of acid. It deals power times 2d8 times unit numbers acid damage. So this is the same as the previous one, but the previous one had stun. This one applies a -2 penalty to speed, so that's how many spaces they can move. -3 penalty to attack, -5 penalty to initiative, and a -3 penalty to reflex save throws to all targets for 3 rounds. So this is all targets that you hit. So do be careful if you hit your own units. You will also do this to your own units. And then also it has a lethargic breath. So this unit's attack. So this is not just your slow breath. this is also your melee attacks. Apply a -2 penalty to speed, -3 penalty to attack, -5 penalty to initiative, -3 penalty reflex saving throw for 3 rounds. It's a mind-affecting effect. And it also has flight. Now do note this one is a little bit more expensive at 450 experience. And again, let's kind of take a look. Obviously, I can't get as close to here, so let me just kind of show off the breath attack. The melee attacks are very, very similar. So this is his breath attack. And there you go. We just proc the second attack. I'm just going to show you the movement there. Now, the next dragon I'm going to show you is the Brass Dragon. So again, very similar. You're going to have the blow-through effect. Now, let's take a look at their stats. Again, very high morale, 141, 417 health. This one has less power, so that means its breath is going to be less powerful. It only has 14 power instead of 25. It has 28 AC. It's a fire type. It's immune to sleep paralysis and prone. And then as we see here, again, we're going to have the same amount of attacks. The bite, 2 claw, 2 wing, and a tail attack. That's important to note. As far as its breath, it has a sleep breath, so it's a conal breath, and you got to be careful. Again, you can't hit your own friends. A unit creates a cone of fire that deals power times 2d8 times unit number fire damage. So again, all the dragons have the same formula, but this one's going to do less damage because you have 14 power instead of 25. And it puts to sleep all the units in for 3 rounds that it hits. So when they're asleep, they can't move or act. So it's kind of like stun, except that melee attacks against the units have a +4 bonus, but if you do take damage, it's going to wake up. So stunned enemies you can attack and they're not going to wake up here. While it is easier to hit them, once you hit them, they will wake up. So it is a little weaker. And again, let me kind of show you what this breath looks like. So there you go. Looks pretty cool. Flame attack. And of course, you just saw it proc again. The effect. So pretty cool. Alright, next let's go ahead and take a look at the Dragonheir Scions. These are pretty cool. They're on, what are these? Well, they're on dinosaurs. I think Triceratops, I believe that's what this is. And so they're lawful good. Armored units, spellcasting units, cavalry, they are grand tier units. They have a speed 6, so they actually can move farther than the dragons, but they don't fly. They have 141 morale again, lots of morale, 402 hit points, 22 AC. Not quite as high as the dragons. They have a damage reduction 3. That is good against basically everything for the most part. And there's an additional damage reduction 3 except, and then it says exception, slashing, piercing, and bludgeoning. So outside of those 3, they'll have damage reductions 6. You also have 5 resistances. So you absorb the first 5 damage of fire, cold, electric, and acid damage. They do a formidable amount of damage per hit. They only have 1 attack. It was a cold iron longsword. So here it's 1d8 plus the modifier. So for this one, I believe the modifier is appropriate or accurate. So here you're showing it's 56 to 64 each. And there are some pretty cool abilities. And again, this seems like it got buffed since I originally played with these. So they come with Shield Wall. So your unit gets a +4 AC and a -4 penalty to attack. And then it says for grand tier units, it's a +8 bonus to AC and a -8 penalty to attack. And since this is a grand tier, if we enable this should show up. I don't know if it's going to show it up live, the modifiers. The game's not always the best, but with that. But yeah, it looks like it did upgrade. So notice you have now 30 AC, but instead of being, now we're down to +27 to hit, which is still pretty decent. But basically, this is a really nice buff to survival. And also, you get a -20% penalty to damage while the ability is activated. So you're also going to do less damage, unfortunately, it looks like. But it's good for kind of if you're going to go in tanky mode. Now, it also has Arcane Strike, so the unit's attacks ignore up to 3 points of damage reduction. So that's kind of nice. And you're going to also have Battering Ram attack. So unit gains a +1 bonus to attack until the end of the round for every 2 squares it moves. So remember, it can move up to 6 squares. So you can basically get +3 bonus to attacks if you move the full 6 squares. And then a final ability is Dragon's Awakening. Unit gains a +30% bonus to max hit points and a +10 bonus to all ability scores after destroying an enemy unit, which is pretty cool. Now, it's extremely expensive, 555 experience. You'll notice these are actually more expensive than the dragons. So as far as budget goes, that's not very cheap. Let's go ahead and see kind of how hard, what their attack animations are and movement animations are. So, just goes and attacks with the sword. You know, nothing too fancy, but again, they can be quite tanky, potentially, and they get some cool effects. And again, I mean, come on, it's a unit on a dino. Alright, and then finally, for this battle, we're going to take a look at the Dragonslayers. So these guys are chaotic neutral, actually. And again, you will only get these if you choose that specific option in the storyline that I mentioned. So if you kind of go on the side of the dragons, you won't get these. But I did want to show these off because they're quite amazing. Again, very high morale, 141. They have 172 hit points, which is actually pretty solid for a ranged unit. Now again, they have just ridiculously powerful damage per unit. So they use a heavy crossbow. And so they do 198 to 208 damage. So they have a plus 40 to hit modifier. They are just absolutely nutty. Now, they do have a penalty in close combat. So unit switches to melee weapon, melee combat, and deals only 50% damage. So you want to basically have units kind of protecting them. They also have a feature called Monster Slayer. So unit has a plus 3 bonus to attacks and damage against Grand tier units. So that's really, really important. You can kind of right-click on enemies to see what kind of tier units they are, obviously. So you can see here, here's the Nalfashni and Grand tier units. So if we shoot these big fatties, you'll be able to get them pretty good. You'll notice we only have 17 of them, and it looks like we'll still kill 13 of them. So again, if you can get a good amount of these, they can get really, really nasty. But again, they are extremely expensive also at 500 experience. So you're going to have to, you know, choose to focus on them if you want to have kind of like a range build. And again, simple animation, quite effective, huge morale. So again, you're going to be proccing multiple attacks per round consistently. Do not underestimate that. So huge damage potential plus multi-attacks. That's a winning combination, potentially. All right, and now we're going to take a look at the final 2 units here. So the Golden Dragon, we're going to look at in a second here, and also the Scaled Fist kind of monk unit that you can get access to. So let's take a look at those. And again, as far as dragons go, we're going to compare them to the other dragons. So I brought out the Bronze Dragon here for this fight. So this one, again, costs only 325, and we kind of saw the stats here as a reminder as far as the morale, 30 AC, 409 health, 25 power, so good casting, has all those abilities we mentioned a moment ago. But let's compare it to the Golden Dragon. Now, the Golden Dragon is absolutely kind of bonkers stat-wise. So it will still have the blow-through option here. Now, stat-wise here, again, they're lawful good, 141 morale, so same morale. Quite a bit more health, 660 health, insane power, 39 power. So even the best other dragons have 25 power. Their base AC is 32, so the best AC of any of the dragons. Damage reduction 3, they are fire-based, immune to sleep, paralysis, and prone. And their attacks are much, much more powerful. So you'll notice they have the same amount of attacks. But again, I don't know why the other dragons have such huge negative modifiers. But here we're seeing, you know, the bite attack is 2d6 plus 17. So 22 to 34. And the claw attacks are quite a bit more powerful. The tail attacks are quite a bit more powerful. So they, per unit, will hit much harder. Now again, because I have an older save file, it's possible that some of these may be not perfectly calculated, but you will know that their strength, all their stats are much higher as well. So the other dragon, the best other dragon had 25 strength. This one has 30 strength, so that will do more damage and have better to hit baseline. But then there's also other features that are quite a bit nicer. Now, the first one is the breath, which is like the other breaths, but it's a fire attack, and it does power times 2d8 times unit numbers. But remember, you now have a much higher power bonus, so this is going to do more damage. And then it also applies an effect that deals power times 1d8 times unit numbers fire damage for 3 rounds. So unlike all the other Dragon Breaths that do not have this extra fire kind of damage over time, this one does. Now, I will note that I still think that probably the stun is a little bit more powerful that we saw earlier, but just damage is, you know, pretty great here. And then you're going to have an ability called Dragon's Blessing. You can target another unit, and that other target is going to gain a +4 bonus to attacks for 3 rounds, and a +30 bonus to combat morale. So remember, combat morale procs the ability to have multiple attacks. You can cast this on other units, and they're going to double attack much more regularly. Now, the downside, the big downside is the experience cost, 1,625. This is the killer. I love the golden dragons, but we're talking about the other dragons costing, you know, the cheaper ones were 325. So we're talking, you know, over a 5-time cost on this. So they're extremely expensive. So if you thematically want a golden dragon kind of horde, yes, you can get them, but it's going to take longer to build them up. They are more powerful. They are awesome. Don't get me wrong. Let's kind of show the attack animation again. I'm going to show you the Dragon's Blessing effect here. Again, I'm not going to cast it on the monk since we're going to want to take a look at their base stats, but let's just show what it looks like. There's the blessing right there. Pretty cool little animation. Now let's look at the Scaled Fist monks again. I only have 6 of them, so not going to be doing crazy impressive damage or anything like that here. Let's look at the stats again. Very high morale, 141, 395 health. You have good AC, 26. Again, not as high as the dragons, but considering this is just a infantry unit, really quite good. It has damage reduction 3. Exceptions are slashing, piercing, bludgeoning. They are immune to fear, poison, disease, and being stunned, as well as frightened, sleep paralysis as well. So all the kind of stunning or disabling abilities. They do pretty decent damage, 17 to 19, so 1d3 plus the modifiers plus 16. And they do have the shield wall attack that we saw earlier. So again, because these are not, they're mythic units, but they're not grand tier units, they're not going to get that +8 bonus. So it's a +4 AC bonus minus 4 attack. And if you're noticing the combat behind, it's because I accidentally hit A on my keyboard. And yeah, so I believe I just turned on auto attack, but let's just keep going for now. And then you're going to have the stunning attack as well. So the unit's attacks stuns the target for one round. That is very powerful. You can basically lock down a unit unless they're immune to stun. And what's nice about these, their experience isn't that high. They're only 110. So about a third of one of the weaker dragons and a 1/16 of a golden dragon. So let's go ahead and take a look at what they attack like. So here, they had kind of gotten the mosh pit, so I'm going to move it over here and show you the attack. Again, there's only 6 of them, so they're not going to do crazy damage. But just kind of like a monk here attack. And again, you'll notice it proc the extra attack. Again, unfortunately, enemies that are immune to stun, it's not going to be great. But you can kind of, if you proc this, in theory, if you're fighting against monsters that you can stun, you could have stunned that one. It could have run over and stunned another one. So with every attack, it can potentially stun. So versatile, you're going to get these earlier on in the game. So you could potentially get a nice army of them. Very defensive, crowd control, decent attack as well. All right, and finally, let's go ahead and take a look at the Dragon Disciples, the kind of latecomers to the party here. Again, I only have 6 of them, so they're not going to be terribly effective here, unfortunately. But in case you were wondering, they are neutral good spellcasters. So they, again, are going to have really high morale here, similar to pretty much all the dragon units. So that's going to equate to a high chance of multi-attacks. They have 22 power, which is not bad. 263 hit points. Very high AC for kind of melee units with 27 AC. They also have energy resistance 5 towards fire, cold, electricity, and acid. Again, they are kind of hybrids. They have dragon elements in their blood, similar to how you can play a Dragon Disciple technically in the game. So they tend to have like a sorceress / melee background combined with like dragon blood. And so for them, they use a cold scimitar, so 16 to 21 damage. Not bad, not great. Now, they do have a lot of abilities you see here. I also just want to emphasize the text here. I did like this. It says, occasionally dragons can mate with representatives of other races, and their blood runs through the veins of many mortals. Those few mortals who have the ancient legacy awakened often choose the path of dragon disciple and become loyal companions to dragons. So they do have withering breath. So this is a tonal fire breath. So it does power times 2d8 times unit number fire damage. This is the same exact kind of conal attack as the dragons have. And it also has the damage over time effect, power times 1d8 times unit number for 3 rounds. It's the same as the Golden Dragon. So they have the highest DPS, damage per second breath, or damage per turn, I guess you could say. Additionally, they have the Dispel spell. So dispels all positive effects from the target enemy unit or all negative effects from the target allied unit that you can cast. So that's really important as well. And it looks like you can cast this 5 times in a round or in a match versus the breath is only once. Then we're going to have Grand Destiny. That you can apply this to 1 friendly creature. It looks like you can cast this 2 times. So the target unit gains +4 bonus to all rolls for 3 rounds. Nice little buff. You can cast Dimensional Door once, so you can teleport. You basically gain the ability to teleport for 3 rounds. And teleport lets you go anywhere on a map, and this you can cast on yourself or the characters. And then you also get sleep breaths. You get 2 different types of breaths. So this one right here, it is power times 2d8 times unit number fire damage, plus it puts units to sleep for 3 rounds. So that's anybody you target. Do be careful. You could technically target your own units as well. So that's important to note. Let's take a quick look. For example, if you cast Dimensional Door instead of having this weak movement, you'll have better movement on previous turns. And again, notice because of that high morale, we just proc that. So now we can go anywhere. And again, this is not going to impress anybody with the damage here, obviously, because there's only 6 of them. But let's take a look at what that looks like. So here's her teleporting around and scimitar attack. So again, if you were to get a lot of them, they could be pretty cool. Again, they have 2 different unique breaths, lots of buffs. Again, there's their death animation because there's not that many of them. Not going to be too successful against 750 units. So those are, again, the final units that I was able to find in my playthrough. Alright, so those are all the unique units for the Golden Dragon playthrough. Now, I do want to, again, re-emphasize with any of these mythic tier units, all the dragons, all those unique units, unfortunately, they are not recruitable. You will have options to upgrade other units to put into your main army, as you kind of see here. But from what I've seen, none of them are really recruitable. So the way you get more of them outside of the base amount that you get is multiplying using Call to Arms. So again, I'll re-emphasize this. This is something you can use every 2 weeks and adds units to the target army with a total value of 750 times mythic rank. So again, at this point in the playthrough, you know, if you're tier 8 or tier 9, you know, you're going to multiply 750 times that. So if, let's say, you want to choose the Golden Dragons, remember, there's 1,650 cost, so that's expensive. So you're not going to get nearly as many of them, but you're just going to want to cast this. You start with 8 of them, and again, if I cast this right here, we're up to 12. So you can get 4 more in this calculation. So this is what I meant. These can take a while to build up, but if you do build them up, they're extremely powerful. Or you can pick one of the other units that's cheaper, and they're going to be much easier to multiply. So part of this is going to be kind of thematic. A lot of times in this game, kind of getting masses of kind of low to mid tier units seems to be quite effective. But if you want to role play Golden Dragon playthrough, then you know you got to do this option here. And again, they are extremely tanky, extremely powerful, and really fun to have in your Crusader system. Alright, so now that we've gone over the units for the Crusade system, let's go over the next big part of the story, and that's getting down here to Is. Now, the most direct way to get here, I'll show you right now, is if we're starting all the way up here in Drezen, go out west, past Temple of the Good Hunt. At this 4-way path, you can just go directly west as if you were heading to Blackwater, but then you're going to want to go southwest towards Plural Falls, and then instead of going towards Plural Falls, go east and then south to camp on the Fairy Bastion. And from there, just go southwest, and it's going to be a straight shot to Iz. Be careful. There's kind of some red herring kind of paths where you may think if you go up this north path that you maybe think Blooming Meadows connects. It does not. If you go down any of the southern pathways where it really looks like it's going to connect there as well, it does not. So that's an important thing to hear. Now let's go ahead and go into Iz, and I'm going to show you the unique Golden Dragon interactions there. Alright, now in Iz, there's going to be a couple of things you're going to be doing here. The main thing here is you're actually going to be fighting the corrupted Terendelev, unfortunately. You're going to be going and meeting with the Queen at the Temple of Stone Manuscripts, and then we're going to be fighting Deskari. So the two kind of unique things here, compared with speaking from what I found, is that we are actually going to have an opportunity to save Terendelev, as we're going to see here in a second. And then there's some unique text with the Deskari. I didn't see anything really super unique with the Queen interaction, unlike some of the other kind of like evil playthroughs. But let's take a look at the unique interaction with Terendelev, and then the unique text when you fight Deskari in just a second. So let's take a look at here. So there we go. You gotta fight her. Now, once you defeat her, notice you can interact with her. So go ahead and do that. You can miss this. Terendelev's empty eye socket stares at you from the recesses of her skull. Her skeleton is engulfed in flames. It is difficult to believe that these bones once belonged to a majestic silver dragon, but you do not feel like Terendelev has departed the material plane just yet. And so you have an option as a golden dragon that says, "Awaken, Terendelev, you're still here, I know it." Your dragon soul reaches out to Terendelev. You call out with your whole being, not to the grisly skeleton, but to the noble and beautiful warrior she used to be. The skeleton jaws part in a visceral howl of pain and torment, and then you hear Terendelev's familiar voice. "A gold dragon, my teacher? No, you are not him, but you're a friend." "No, I have no friends. The cursed Deskari raised me. He condemned me to eternal torture, condemned me to destroy anyone who tries to invade Iz. Once I complete this task, he will grant me peace, he promised." And then, so you can say, "Do you remember me? You tried to heal my wounds in Kenabres before the Deskari attacked. There were so many of you. I helped everyone I could, and now what? I am Deskari's weapon. I can't help anyone." "You think Deskari's promise is worth something? He's lying to you." "It's all I have. It's my only chance to escape this suffering. He'll come to set me free. He'll come." "Terendelev, I, a gold dragon, call to your soul. Remember who you really are." "A gold dragon." You sense weariness and sadness in Terendelev's voice. "Leave me, or end my torment. I will never be the same as I was before." What would Halaseliax say if he could see you now? Do you think he would want you to give up? "He saved me while I was alive, but how can you save what is dead? No, I don't deserve life. I am worthless. And that dirt beneath your feet, I am worth less than the dirt beneath your feet. I'm Deskari's plaything, a puppet he uses to scare off crusaders." "Your story isn't over yet, Terendelev. It's not too late to be good. You can still help people." I am undead filth. My body is desecrated. My soul is in agony. I look around and see nothing but suffering and death. Whom can I possibly help? And then you have an option here. Good. It requires Dragon Mythic Path. Come back for the sake of your friends and allies. Even Deskari couldn't corrupt the dragon soul within you. And your example will give them strength. You believe in me. Even though you can see what I've become, you still believe, just like Halaseliax. Yes, I can't let you down. I can't let down those who are dear to me. I am still a dragon. And so I will travel to your fortress, brother. I will protect it as long as I am able. And just like that, you have saved Terendelev, and she will return to the fortress. And we'll see an interaction with her in just a second. But before we do that, let's go ahead and take a look at the kind of unique Golden Dragon interaction with Deskari and the kind of final showdown in is. So we are at Deskari, so let's take a look as we go and interact with them.
You are bad at pretending to be uninterested, imposter. I know you came down from heaven and even scooped to a conversation with that flighty killer Nocticula, the Crusader goddess, and the Lady in Shadow. So that is how far you are willing to go to be rid of me.
Ooh, sounds like somebody's jealous. The goddess had a chat with Nocticula, a chat with us. But no matter how much you yell at her, you get diddly squat.
Are you puffing up your tail again, buddy? I'm pretty sure the goddess spoke with the commander, and all the while you were shaking so hard you could barely stand. Too scared to look at her.
She's just a little too bright is all. So I covered my eyes so I didn't get blinded. And the shakes, the weather was kind of chilly. There was a bit of a breeze going. Aside from that, it was nice chatting with a goddess all friendly like. Doesn't happen every day. And for some folks, it doesn't happen ever.
Now, I wish they had the budget to do voice acting for this entire game, because I do love the voice acting in this game, as you see here when it does pop up. So here is your unique option for the Dragon Mythic Path. The name of Terendelev, slain by your hand while you've been cursing Iomade, an opponent whose strength rivals your own, has appeared on Golarion. Leave willingly, and I will spare you. You feel your inner golden light bursting forth. There is no anger, no rage inside you, only a calm desire to protect that which you hold dear, and the joy of life. There is no need to fight. Combat is the last resort. The light touches Deskari as it once touched the demon in Drezen.
You shining whelp! What are you? How dare you show me your pitiful wisdom? I will destroy you, and the imposter shall bear witness.
The demon lord's howl shakes the earth. And now you gotta fight him, and let's I'll fight him real quick here, and I'll fast forward and show you the unique interaction as a golden dragon after you defeat him.
Cover me, all right?
And here we go. Once you defeat him, a deep moan bellows over the area. It feels as if the very stones of Iz, the ancient, ravaged capital, chorus, are crying in pain under an unbearable weight.
Impossible. I am chaos and death. I am the end of times. I cannot be defeated.
And then we as a dragon path, we can say, I am a gold dragon, and I won't let you destroy that which is dear to me, Deskari. For a moment, you see in your mind's eye the square in Kenabres, where it all began. Except now, you two have switched places. Deskari is the one teetering at the edge of a chasm while you stand firm. The vision fades, but your power responds to it and erupts in a single mighty torrent. Your body tenses. The wound in your chest bursts into flames, bleeding heavily as if trying to kill you. But can this stop you? Now, when you're a step away from victory? No. Alright, now at this point you're going to want to head back to Drezen, and just as with all the other pathways, we're going to have a cool little interaction once we get to Drezen. So let's take a look at the homecoming for the Golden Dragon. And here we go. The dragons stacking on top of each other. The gates of Drezen are open wide, and the army that came back from Iz is standing before you. Hundreds of eyes are watching your triumphant return to your city. The feeling of radiant joy and readiness to fight for a just cause is almost palpable. Among the neat ranks of crusaders, the majestic dragons inspire confidence in the heart of all. The crusaders of Mendev watch you and your followers with hope and reverence. They greet you with welcoming shouts and enthusiastic salutes.
Welcome. I see you have returned. You once again saved me from death, and our army from inglorious defeat. I may have been the one to call this crusade, but it was you who became its very soul and chief strategist of the entire campaign. All hail the commander! Long live our hero!
And of course, again, I've never been able to save Erebeth. There may be a way, but you can salute her. She will be leaving, but salute Erebeth's sacrifice.
But now the crusade must face Threshold. It is time for the final confrontation. The last bloody and decisive battle. Few of us will come back alive. Give us all a few words before you lead us on what is to be our final push. Once you are finished with your speech, please come and see me. I'd like to speak with you in private.
You feel the right words take shape in your heart. The warriors look at you with hope, and their bright, open faces bolster your faith in your imminent victory. A lot depends on what you're about to say. Now, I will point out that it seems like, depending on how you speak here, it's going to have an impact kind of on what happens in the post-credits kind of scene and epilogue. So do keep that in mind. I'll kind of show you the pathway that I kind of chose in my playthrough. So option 1 is, friends, remember what we are fighting for. We are driven not by anger, but by a desire to protect our homeland. We've been on the defense for far too long. It is now time to push forward in force. We will fight and bring peace to all of Golarion. Or option 2, comrades. Hearts are overflown with the wrath and the desire to rid Golarion of the invaders. This wrath is righteous. Let it flow freely. No demon will escape us. So this is more of a chaotic answer. Our last one is, my mentor told me I have the soul of a golden dragon, but standing here I feel there is a spark of dragonhood in each and every one of you. Nobility and determination will help us win this battle. We will fight as dragons, defending our land to the final breath. So pick whichever one you like. I kind of like the third one here. And Kenabres Crusaders, we are your dragons, Commander. You hear a loud din, the sound of dozens of swords being rattled against shields. And then here's the kind of choice here. So option 1 is, after we win, we will at last be able to devote ourselves to our true calling. We will go back and lead peaceful lives. This includes me. I will leave this place and go to where I can learn more about what it means to be a dragon. So this is actually a much more dragonish response. They tend to seek knowledge and wisdom, tend to isolate. Or you can say, the victory will not mean an end to conflict. Much needs to be done to revive these lands. I will stand by your side and watch over Drezen, as Terendelev once watched over Kenabres. This is the choice I'm going to pick, and I believe in my endgame, as you're going to see, this is the one I chose there. And so the story will reflect that in the epilogue. Now, Crusaders, we won't abandon you, Commander. We will survive and return to Drezen together. The Concords rumbling on a crowd endorse these words. And then final options here, I believe. Remember, warriors, we are not alone. Our dragon brothers and sisters are with us on this glorious day. Or, if the demons do not relent, we will fight to the end. They will fear the power of our wrath. Or, let us make sure the crusade is the last to arms. Or, we are not fighting out of anger or wickedness. We are fighting for Golarion, onward to Threshold. And, you know, we want to unite, kind of a dragon united front. So I'll choose the first option here. The dragons themselves have come to us. How can we lose now? This moment you feel closer to your warriors than ever before. The dragons who came from afar to fight alongside you can feel it too. Their sonorous voices are lifted in song, and the heart of every crusader follows.
This is where my crusade ends, Commander. Without Beth, I don't belong here.
So she does leave, unfortunately. Storyteller appears behind you as if from nowhere. The storyteller bows. I have chanced to meet a dragon born in the body of a mortal within my lifetime. incredible. As I listened to you, I knew without a doubt that it was no human commander standing before these warriors, but a resplendent dragon. The fact that you tend to come back and help the common folk does you credit. Most dragons do not care about issues that concern other people of Golarion. They occupy themselves with higher matters. You could have left us simple mortals, but decided not to. I am sure that warriors will be grateful. So at this point, we're going to take a look at the kind of final things to focus on, and also some of the events that are going to proc here. The first thing that we're going to get an opportunity to do is actually talk to Hal. So here's Hal in the courtyard. And you talk to Hal. Now again, notice there was no quest that procs this for you to come here. So you're going to want to just kind of come out of your own accord. And you have this new option that says, have you seen Terendelev's new form? What do you think of her on life? My student continues to amaze me. Terendelev has suffered so much pain, others would yearn for peace. But she has chosen to fight on. She thinks that she is weak. She believes that she has been tainted. And she is ashamed of herself. But if she were to ask me, I would tell her that she is the purest and strongest of dragons. I honor her sacrifice. I only hope that one day she can see herself as I see her. That's a nice little story for her. Alright, now at this point, really, there are two final things to focus on. The first one is taking over all the fortresses, and then we're going to go to the threshold. Now, at this point, I'm going to show you, there is a Dragon's Advice event that I found that procs after you get all the fortresses, so which is optional, getting all the fortresses. Now, if you do conquer all of those and get this, I'll show this. Now, it's possible this can proc under other circumstances, but it didn't proc for me until after I finished all the fortresses, so do keep that in mind. Let's take a look at that, and then I will show you the end game, and for the first time ever, I will also show you my end of game kind of resolution and epilogue for those of you that want to see what it looks like to complete the Golden Dragon pathway. Do note that that can differ from playthrough to playthrough depending what companions you choose and what choices you make. Alright, so here is the Dragon's Advice that will pop up as all the other ones have once you complete all the fortresses. So you're just going to head over to the commander's headquarters. Halaseliax looks concerned. Commander, I have sad news. The two dragons that flew to the whirlwind have returned, and they are ill. They are physically unharmed, but their spirits have been broken by the horrors they witnessed. This is exactly what I feared when I asked you to stop the raids on the camps of demon worshippers. The corruption seeping from the wound torments dragon souls, and the smell of roasted flesh makes the madness 1,000 times more unbearable. Dragons are dangerous, but the influence of chaos turns us into even more deadly and insane tools of destruction. I do want to intervene here. So this was based on my previous interaction with Hal, where I continued the raid. So this could be very different potentially if you had made different choices. So unfortunately, I'm not able to kind of go down every single pathway and every choice you make and how wine. So it's not going to make a huge difference, but storyline and flavor-wise, it will. So this is if you sent dragons into the whirlwind to continue the raids. I fear we are asking too much of my kin. Yes, we are strong, but we are not invulnerable. Those two poor worms shall forever remain semi-mindless beasts whom I will care for until their last day. If we continue making sorties through the wound, they won't be the last victims. Please allow us to stop flying into the wound, or at least to provide proper care for those who agree to rest their souls. So, you have two options. Is you can either say, do not make any more reconnaissance flights into the wound. It's too dangerous. If you do this, you're going to get 7 gold dragons that are recruited to Commander's headquarters. And again, if you're trying to stack gold dragons, we kind of saw momentarily ago that how difficult it is to get these. Even with the call to arms, you get about 4 every 15 days. So this is, about 30 days worth of production. Or, alas, the raids must continue, but I will find immortals to take care of the dragons. And if you get this choice, you get unlocked dragon disciples, mercenary units, efficient utility spellcasters. So this allows you to get these units here, neutral good units. Now, from what I found, these are basically, they're not the most powerful units, but they are the ones that you get the furthest into the game. So that's an important thing to note. Most people will not have these in their playthrough. Again, I did go over them in the unit overview, but do note that these are quite unlikely to be gotten for most players. So keep that in mind. And also you gotta kind of keep making the dragon suffer, which isn't very gold dragon thematic. But again, it's up to you. Let me quickly show you what happens and as far as the text goes for this option. And then I'll quickly reload the other option, which is something that I would probably recommend you do. But again, if you do want the Dragon Disciples, let's take a look at what it does so that you see what it takes to get them. I understand. Well, this is war. We must make sacrifices like everyone else. I think it's worth throwing cry among the Dragon Apostles. Our blood flows in the veins of these mortals, and many of them will want to help. The presence of our mortal kin will remind my kind who they are and what they're fighting for. Forgive me, I must go. The 2 scouts who lost their minds after the recent raid require my care. I will return after I heal the worst of their wounds. Alright, and now to kind of go in line with what I would probably personally choose, let's go ahead and see what happens with the second option here. So, do not make any more reconnaissance flights in the whirlwind. It is too dangerous. Thank you. I swear my kin will not forget your mercy. I will make sure everyone knows of your kindness. Forgive me, but I must go. The 2 scouts who lost their minds after the recent raid require my care. I will return after I heal the worst of their wounds. Now, I do want to point out that even though I kind of kept traveling around and passing time hoping that Hal would come back, I didn't personally get any more events. Maybe if you wait for a long time, he comes back. I don't know. Maybe I missed something. But at this point, we're going to go ahead and go to the threshold, which is the final kind of encounter of the main storyline. So I'll show you that as well as the ending. Alright guys, so here we are, the final area of the game, the threshold. So for those of you that want to know how to get here, this is technically just southwest of Is, but you don't get there by just going southwest of Is. So what you really need to do here is you need to go down a southern pathway. So let me kind of show you how to get there. So if you head south from Drezen, you can basically go here down past Stone Maze. You're going to get past Winter Sun, for example, and then keep going southwest here. Here's Terendelev's Lair, so what you want to do is directly south of that, you're going to go west. You're going to go past lands of Yath Watch, then keep going west here. And then if you keep going, you're going to get to the Castle of Desires outpost. Keep going west, you're going to go by the Bladesmith Workshop. It's going to be to the north here. Keep going southwest, and you get the last barrier you got to break through. This is actually a pretty tough fight. And then we get to the threshold. They're going to launch a big assault. There's a bunch of smaller fights I'm going to skip. I'm going to focus on the main Golden Dragon theme stuff. So I'm going to now show you the kind of final kind of quote encounter that's going to lead us to unlocking Mythic 10 for the Golden Dragon. Again, unfortunately happens at the very, very end. Hopefully you'll get to utilize this more in DLC. And then I'll show you the ending right after that. Alright, so here we are at the final encounter, and I'm going to show you all the conversation, basically, final conversation here. And then obviously I'll kind of roleplay the Golden Dragon theme. Something about this strange place feels oppressive. The air is still and silent. You can hear the distant echoes of words, promises, and battle cries. You strain to hear what's being said. They can only make out a few words. Finally. See, sorcerer, I promise, I promise.
Can't be dismissed as a calculation error. You knew failure was a possibility. Then why? Why?
It's over, Areelu. There's nowhere left for you to run.
Yes, it's decided. I will tell you the truth before we fight to the death. Would you like to know why I upended your life?
Speak.
This place is my demi-plane. I created it when I was a prisoner in Threshold. I would slip away to conduct my rituals here in secret. This is where I decided to create what mortals would later call the World Wound. This is where I made all my preparations. Do you understand? Escaping was never my goal. I could have easily disappeared from Threshold. I could have passed through it like water through sand. Some believe that I brought Sarkoris to ruin out of revenge. And there is some truth to that. I had reason to take revenge. You didn't listen to my words in Iz, and you didn't find a way into the secret part of my laboratory. Otherwise, you would know what I'm talking about.
So this is, again, unique element. If you actually found that secret path, you would have gotten some more background information, probably a different text here. I didn't, so c'est la vie.
My laboratory. The old house in the middle of nowhere that marked the entrance to my lab. It was the home of Areelu Vorlesh when I was still a mere mortal. I lived there with my son, away from the din of the crowd, and sheltered from the keen gaze of the Sarkorian witch hunters. It was a place where the reality of our world was in close proximity to the abyss, a place where I could study the magic forbidden to all Sarkorians. I thought I had hidden my home well, but I was wrong. They found it. They found us. At that hour, I was there, in the laboratory. That damned laboratory I loved so much. I was absorbed in one of my experiments when the hunters arrived on our doorstep. I was sitting at my desk, recording my observations, thoughts, and calculations, as was my habit. That's when I heard the noise outside. The fight was brief. It barely lasted a moment. By the time I sensed that something was amiss and hurried out to see what was happening, it was too late. All I could do was cradle the body of my dead child and cry after their departing soul. I promise.
Then a good option is nothing can justify killing of a child.
I am not concerned with whether it was justified or not, or with the application of morality, the law, or the teachings of any god. Look around you. This demi-plane. The first time I escaped from my cell and ran here, I was trying to resurrect my son. I tried many things, but all my efforts were in vain. The soul had already received Pharasma's judgment, and had been sent on the path determined by the gods, into the abyss. And when I realized that, I rebelled. But not against my jailers, not against those who had murdered my child, not even against Sarkoris. My uprising was against destiny, death, and the laws that the gods had forced upon our lives. I realized then that I wouldn't be satisfied with simply returning my son to life. I had to shatter this order once and for all, and make it so that neither Pharasma and her lackeys nor death itself could ever stand between us. Only by stepping beyond the bounds of what had been ordained for mortal kind, by obtaining powers that rivaled the divine, could we become free. And with this newfound purpose, I turned myself into a half-demon. Fusing the spiritual essence of the two planes was the only way I could achieve my goal. I let the abyss into my soul, and into this world. I opened the world wound. I danced around 3 demon lords, making them assist me without ever revealing my true intentions. They just believed they were dealing with another power-hungry mortal. But in reality, I was after one thing. I wanted to find what was left of my son's soul and give him a new birth. One that would prevent anything from ever harming him again. And then I found you. I chose you because I felt a faint affinity to you. I thought your soul could accept the remains of my son's soul, like the soil takes a seed. I thought I could bring back my child by tethering the mangled remnants of his soul to a pure mortal soul untouched by the abyss. I thought the power of the Nahindrian crystals would allow me to protect him forever. That I could tear him away from the dominion of mortal nature. But I was mistaken in both assumptions. Now I'm about to face the consequences of my mistake. You will witness them as well.
And so now you have the big battle with Areelu. So I will go ahead and kind of go through this and then show you what happens right after. Right, and then after the fight here, you got to get out of the dummy plane. We'll go ahead and do that. And notice, very kind of unceremoniously, you are going to go ahead and level up to Mythic 10. So I'm going to show you what happens for the dragon. Again, my big video on this covers this. So it's not, it doesn't have a ton of features. You're going to get a Mythic feat. But what we really care about is this: Perfect Soul, Golden Dragon's immunity to cold, fire, electricity, and acid, energy drain, and negative energy. All your damage is now holy damage, so you basically become kind of a god at the end game. Any spells dealing damage now change your dice to D10 if it was not D10 or greater. If it is D10 or greater, the spells instead +1 bonus damage per die. Bonus to your highest ability score is now increased to +8. So you just become even more powerful, which is pretty nice.
You should not have come here. I, Areelu Vorlesh, the one you called the betrayer, have nothing to offer you but death. Crusade, I will give you the chance to avenge your death. Rise.
Curse you, mortal scum! You have struck ice into my heart. I will devour your souls to loosen its freezing grip.
And so this now is, you're going to have kind of a rough situation potentially, because at this point what's going to happen is you're going to have to use your characters that were not taken with you, your other units here at the camp. You're also going to have other NPCs that are going to help you out. It's not easy, but it's also not impossible. So this is just something that's going to be part of the story. Now, after you defend a camp, you're going to go back to your main party here, right? And so now we need to kind of go to the ultimate finale. And you're just going to travel down as everything's kind of coming apart around you, which looks pretty darn cool.
The mortal who ventured recklessly into the abyss has now reached threshold. In Iz, you struck down my creator and master Deskari, but if that makes you dismissive of his echo, if you think I do not pose a threat, then you are greatly mistaken.
You don't want to fight me in the abyss, so why are you here now?
I was hunting the hand of the inheritor in the abyss, not you. And what a good hunt it was. But now things are different. Now you are the prey I covet more than anything else.
Out of my way.
No, I'm not afraid of your threats, and there's nothing you could offer me that would make me withdraw.
All right, it's your death.
He lost to you. He lost. The great Deskari himself lost to a mortal. So what happens if I succeed where the great lord failed? If an echo destroys the one its originator could not defeat, who would that make me? What would it prove? I'll risk my life to know. You are not just my enemy, you are my chance. A chance I won't miss.
Unfortunately, we're a Mythic 10 Gold Dragon, so this guy's got no chance, but here we go. So you're going to want to go ahead and fight this. And he shouldn't be too much of a challenge for you at this point, if you've kind of leveled up appropriately with your party. And then here we go. And we continue on down as everything continues to kind of collapse around us in this plane. Very cool graphically. Continuing down into the abyss till the very end here. And here we are now. Final time of Areelu.
It was here that I conducted the ritual, sewing my soul and the essence of the abyss together. Feeling the world change around me as every stitch brought Galarian closer to the abyss. And it was here that even though you have no memory of it, I did the same to your soul. A researcher must not have any personal feelings for the subjects of their experiments. And yet, I find myself unable to remain completely detached from the world wound. I created it. I allowed it to be. It holds a place in my heart, even if I'm slowly paying for it with my life. A researcher must be particularly resilient in the face of mistakes, incorrect hypotheses, and failed experiments. You are my failed experiment. I think I'll feel some regret for ending your current life, but you can rest assured that such sentiments will not stop me.
Now, depending if you make certain checks, you'll have some unique text here, so I'll go ahead and do this one since I did pass Knowledge Arcana for you. You can tell you've been preparing this place for battle, but there's more to it, am I right? I sense a barrier spells waiting to be activated, and there's something else, something deadly.
You're so adept at magic. Of course, I've been preparing for our meeting. And hopefully I've prepared well.
You've done all this just to save your child?
Yes. And no. Even if I could have brought back my son, I wouldn't have stopped at that. I wouldn't have been satisfied. Not after what I'd gone through. Not after the things I'd learned. I wanted to become stronger, and I wished the same for my child. I didn't want to be afraid of anything. It wasn't the dogs of Threshold, or even Sarkoris itself, that threatened us. It was the laws of a world governed by death, weakness, and separation. That is why I needed the power of the Nehindrian crystals. I did not wish to merely stave off the agony of the wound. I wanted to tear my son from the grasp of everything that makes us weak and mortal. You have seen a goddess. You have been face to face with demon lords. Were you awed by their greatness? Do you enjoy living in a world where your entire life cycle has been predetermined? Where everything, from your birth to what will happen to your soul after you die, has been decided for you? Or do you find Now that you have experienced the mythic power coursing through your blood, that you prefer to live in a world that you can change. A world that offers you a chance to be anything you want.
I cannot justify your actions, but I understand them.
How strange. You are a kindred spirit. We are so alike. Perhaps the experiment wasn't such a failure in the end. But no. No.
You merge the remnants of your son's souls with mine, so why do you want to harm me?
If a hypothesis is proven wrong, it needs to be rejected. But the research process does not stop there. That is all I can tell you right now.
You've been carrying a wound in your soul for a long time. Does this mean you will die soon?
It will kill me eventually. But I still have some time left. Years. Or decades, perhaps. But it doesn't matter. One of us will die today.
What will happen if one of us steps into the wound?
The tearing of the soul, followed by a cruel and terrible death. But it will likely be quick.
I have no more questions.
And it's finally time to end all this.
And now we have a unique option as a Dragon Mythic Path. I refuse to believe that your soul is beyond hope. Surely there is more within you than evil and despair. You don't have to do this. We don't need to fight.
What are you talking about? I don't feel despair. And this fight is necessary. So much depends on its outcome. Death is not the end. I have spent 100 years trying to prove it, and I will not stop now. This experiment was unsuccessful, but that just means I need to adjust the initial conditions and try again. I am still alive. I still have time. You, the current you, will have to die, but only to surrender the soul you share with my son. I will start over. This time I will do everything differently. I will work with even greater precision. I will turn the world upside down if I must. I promise.
And now we have the final fight of Areelu Vorlesh, so I'll go ahead and do that. And then afterwards, I'll show you the aftermath and how to save Areelu Vorlesh from a horrible fate.
Aim carefully.
Alright, and here we are after the fight.
I never thought that I would be responsible for the creation of my most powerful enemy.
Here's the good option. You can also perception check. I can see you, suture, show yourself. But let's go ahead and do the Dragon Mythic Path option. Rein in your hubris and listen to me. We could be allies instead of enemies.
No, we couldn't. Your draconic grandeur may be impressive, but you have nothing that I want.
Perception check. Let's go ahead and see. I can see you, suture. Show yourself.
I've been waiting for you to get distracted so I can stab you in the back.
I've uncovered your plan. The spells in this chamber, they are designed to kill you if something goes wrong. Been preparing for this outcome from the start, am I right?
How very perceptive. But you didn't think I would make it easy, did you? I won't let you win. You need me alive. You want to use me to close the wound, but I can destroy myself before you have a chance.
And then hopefully you have either high diplomacy or intimidation. We're going to go with the diplomacy option here. Areelu, this is madness, an act of evil, and it's absolutely pointless. You want to accomplish anything. Is this really how you wish to go? Don't do this.
You're right. I won't gain anything from this. So what now? You are stronger than I could have anticipated. As your creator, I should be proud. to be defeated by the one I have imbued with power. Is there any higher praise? But I'm tired. You won't hear me pleading. Let us finish this experiment here and now.
And let's look at the good, unique Dragon Mythic Path option. Listen to me, Areelu Vorlesh. You who they call the betrayer of humanity, you have lost. You stand upon a brink, but in truth you lost long ago, when you started a battle where there can be no victors. Abandon your insane goal and accept my help. Together we can heal both the wounds in your soul and the evil you have brought upon this world.
More talk of reconciliation and change, and you expect me to listen? To just live, helping a mighty dragon whose soul retains the vestiges of my child's soul?
Are you certain about that? Oh, everyone will be so sad if you don't sacrifice yourself to close the wound. Most importantly, I will be sad, since I put so much effort into closing it. And I don't like feeling sad. Areelu as a sacrifice will suit me just as well. Feel free to choose who dies now.
Stop, Lady in Shadow. I know you are willing to stab the commander in the back and sacrifice him to the wound if necessary. I do not intend to let that happen. I will not, however, protect Areelu Vorlesh.
I'll defend Areelu if I have to, and I won't change my decision. The whirlwind stays, and I'll be its guardian. This may ruin me, but I won't yield. Let's see what change I can bring to this world by following my own path.
Not so fast. Didn't you accept my profane gift yourself? And since you did, heed your mistress's will.
So again, my playthrough accidentally accepted her gift. So if you didn't, you won't have to deal with this. And again, I don't recommend doing that. But fortunately, well, hopefully, you can pass this test. It is a pretty high will, 35. Resist I won't give up so easily, and hopefully make the roll. I have a will plus 27. Let's see. There we go. I succeeded. Got lucky here. Your heart feels like it's bursting to flame, the flame of your will. It burns and it hurts, possibly worse than unseen snake's poison. But it hurts. The creature coiled around your heart even more. An inaudible cry sweeps through the chamber as the snake finally releases its embrace and burns away.
You've broken my profane gift. Yes, I can see it now. Your will to live is impressive. Let this be a lesson to me. Never trust a servant to choose a tool, especially a servant as unreliable as Areelu.
Enough, demon. Your pact is void. The commander is free.
Such a simple, elegant plan to seal the wound, one which would have satisfied everyone, has turned into utter nonsense. I'm disappointed in you, Knight Commander.
Commander, I cannot understand your decision, and yet it is yours. Perhaps there are some aspects of dragon wisdom that I cannot fathom. Well then, I bid you farewell. May you keep your eternal vigil with honor.
Opposing a goddess and a demon for my sake. You are more deranged than I thought. Perhaps you're right. I lost hope long ago. I've just been hiding it from myself. I just needed to let go, to give way to grief and find a new purpose. I don't know what you're expecting of me, but I'm ready to become your ally in eternity.
Life and death, destiny and great deeds, answers to mysteries, the search for one's true path. The mind can comprehend all of these, and then such concepts can be written down. as a sequence of formulas, a series of lines, a chain of thoughts. Still, a moment always comes when it's time to wrap up, to reach a conclusion, to put a period at the end of the last sentence. Or should it be an ellipsis instead, an empty space where descriptions of the end result should be. After all, a century of crusades changed nothing. The gaping world wound remained on the face of Golarion. And yet, something changed within the world wound. It was as if it had lost some of its power. Demons would occasionally emerge from the rift, but every time they were greeted by groups of dragons that, after one warning, would rain down fire and magic upon them. Strangely enough, some of the demons would come to Golarion unarmed, claiming they wanted to learn how to live amongst mortals. The Fifth Crusade may not have lasted long, but in that short time, Drezen became the commander's city, his bulwark, his citadel. Unsurprisingly, he remained the ruler of the city and the surrounding lands after the spectacular victory at Threshold. The lands of the former Sarkoris became a place of refuge for many dragons. They settled in the mountains, ruined bastions, and numerous gorges. Pilgrims would come from all over to seek their wisdom. The dragon Halaseliax grew estranged from the affairs of simple mortals. He flew to an unapproachable mountaintop not far from Drezen, so as not to be bothered with trivial matters while still being able to observe from a distance and, if need be, come to the mortals' aid once again. Even death could not stop Terendelev from being a protector of mortal kind, and even though she could not go to Kenabres, she would often circle over the city and its environs, keeping travelers safe from any harm. No one knew for certain where the dragon Sevalros disappeared to, but there were rumors that he had been spotted flying west towards Verisaya and beyond across the ocean. Perhaps he's somewhere in Arcadia or Tianzia now, living a new life under a new name. Although the commander became a symbol of the Fifth Crusade, there were still some amongst the Crusaders who were dissatisfied with his decisions. Years later, their words served as the basis for many alternate versions of the history, the struggles against the world wound. Due to the success of the commander's diplomatic strategy, by the end of the war, Mendev's true political center was Drezen, not Nerosian. After gaining the support of foreign rulers and finding allies in the capital, Drezen became the shining example of the new Mendev, one that nurtured by the commander's ideas. The significance and accomplishments of the Crusades were so great that even a century after the end of the war, Drezen retained its prominence on the map of Avestan. The commander's diplomatic, military, and administrative talent turned the fortress into a key political player. King Galfrey returned to Nerosian with the intent to rule Mendev as before, but as it turned out, Mendevian society was hungry for change. The war-ravaged nation desired new leadership, but the queen would not countenance yielding her authority to anyone else. She believed her duty to the homeland had not yet been fulfilled. Upon his return to Kenabres, Holrun ranted and raged against those who had been governing the city in his absence. But contrary to all expectations, Holrun's inquisitors were far less vicious than in days past. It seems that time has spent fighting in the Fifth Crusade has tempered him somewhat. Kenabres, having risen from the ruins, continued to stand guard at the border of the world of mortals. It seems that ill-fated city was never meant to enjoy a life of peace. The wardstone from the chain that had guarded the border of Mendev were carefully disassembled one by one. The angels that had been trapped inside returned to heaven to heal their wounded spirits and prepare for new battles against evil. The Lady in Shadows found a way to benefit from the situation. By magnanimously accepting the warriors from the destroyed armies of Baphomet and Deskari, she significantly bolstered the might of the Midnight Isle. Few realized that the commander had effectively foiled Noctiluna's plans with his decision to keep the passage between Abyss and Golarion open. The Lady in Shadow began preparing her defenses in secret. She knew that sooner or later invaders would appear in her realm, and it mattered not whether they would be demons or mortals. The Demon Lord Baphomet suffered a defeat, but his ambitions were undimmed. The world wound remained open, and therefore the War of Golarion was not over. Demon Lord Deskari suffered a great defeat. He bided his time, continuing to plot his invasion of Golarion, and after that of heaven itself. The cultists that remained on Golarion went mad one after another, tortured by the nightmarish dreams their lord sent to them. Not alone, Anivia left, quietly unnoticed, leaving no notes of trace. No one ever saw her again. Now do note the following, all the companions, etc. These endings will differ depending on your actions. So do note that. This was just kind of what I did or did not do on this playthrough. The storyteller, as old as the tales he collected, continued to travel across Golarion and occasionally beyond. He knew that out there somewhere there was one story he would never find, his own. Sela departed Mendev with a heavy heart. All the things she had gone through had left her more confused and saddened than inspired. The paladin went off to seek her path and a way to find inner peace. A short time after the war against the whirlwind concluded, Lance set off on a journey. He wanted to see the world, behold the sea with his own eyes, visit Absalom, have a look at how people in Tianzia lived, so much more. Alas, the mongrel's time is short, and his plans were fated never to be realized. The Fifth Crusade ended, but not the personal crusade of the mad young preacher. Without saying goodbye to anyone, she left to continue her endless wayfaring along the roads of Golarion, helping the distressed and preaching love and kindness to villains. Soon after the war, the tireless researcher of all things researchable embarked on a new journey. She had a sudden urge to know how much time it would take to visit every nation on Golarion. She never returned. No, she did not perish. She simply got carried away with another experiment and forgot to come back. Shortly after the conclusion of the Fifth Crusade, Darren Eridan's body was discovered at one of his estates. His head was missing, and any attempt to find it proved futile. Woljif was not tempted by the laurels of a war hero, for his true heritage waited him in the abyss. After saying his farewell to the chief, former Thiefling went to Alarishan to claim what was his by right. His vast experience in shady dealings meant Woljif was in his element. He became the best fencer and fixer in the city. He always knew where to find reliable assassins, where the next shipment of artifacts would arrive from Golarion, and which aristocrats were planning a coup for this month. After the victory, Sosel returned home together with his brother. Now a famed Crusade hero, he humbly officiated at a temple of Shalin, painted, grew sweet-smelling fruits, and made the best wine in the region. His kindly smile faded only when people asked him to recount his experiences in the war. He would not deny them, but he would speak without embellishment, so that not a single listener would feel tempted to pick up a sword and leave in search of a hero's glory. During the war, Sosel met with an engineer by the name of Aran Kir. That meeting turned into a friendship, which turned into love, and then it was time for the wedding. Later, the Clare would say that the only memory of his beloved had allowed him to cope with the terror of the abyss, keeping his sanity. When he returned home, Trevor restored the shield of Shalin to its place in the church and swore never to pick up a weapon again. He tried to discover his wood-carving skills, but his wounded hands betrayed him, no longer willing to create beauty. Tormented fighter lived a quiet, peaceful life, helping his brother with his vineyard, all the while trying in vain to forget the horrors of the abyss. Reginald de Renge wrote a treatise of waging war against the demons, both a practical manual and a philosophical exhortation. And once that was done, he succumbed to the bleaching completely. He was posthumously reinstated in the order and buried with honors in the officer's cemetery. His treatise was used in all future wars against the abyss by mortals, angels, and devils alike. Before he died, he managed to send a letter to the commander. Did it contain sincere farewell or a list of directives? Impossible to say. No one was privy to the content except the recipient. Without bidding farewell to his comrade-in-arms, Greyborn left Drezen. He returned to his craft, but gold no longer seemed as desirable a reward to him as before. He joined a fanatical sect of assassins, where he was able to immerse himself in a newfound lust for violence. The war was over, but Rosali's wandering had only just begun. Desna's riddle, and what do you dream about, rang in the ears of Succubus, who had renounced evil but never found good. She continued to roam all over Golarion, observing mortals and hoping one day to find a coveted answer.
And what of me, the writer of these words? The half-demon witch known as the Architect of the World Wound. I joined the side of the person I had previously fought against. I saw the error of my judgment and the rightness of his. I helped to restore the world I had mutilated. I was saving it, healing it, up until the moment the wound on my chest claimed my life. I have recounted the story of my life for you, Pharasma, Lady of Graves. Not only of my life, but of the Commander's also. I believe the tale of such an illustrious figure would pique even a goddess's curiosity. Now you know everything. I await your verdict, goddess.
Silence hangs over the boneyard. The Lady of Graves is weighing her decision. It seems the entire universe is holding its breath, awaiting her pronouncement. Who would dare to break silence so absolute? And I will intervene. Though you are no longer here, your mythic powers entitle you to say in the trial. So you have all these different options. So you can say, you could do a diplomacy check. I appeal to your mercy. The plains have suffered enough. Do not add to the evil already wrought yet another act of evil. Lower religion. I appeal to your mercy. Of all the gods, Almeida was the only one to fight against the whirlwind. Even you, Pharasma, stood by and did nothing. Does not suggest that the whirlwind was not so great a threat in the universe, and Areelu's crimes were not as heinous as claimed. You can do another diplomacy check. I appeal to your sense of justice. Great evil deserves a commensurate punishment. Another world religion. I appeal to your sense of justice. The world the gods created exists in a delicate balance. Areelu attempted to overturn the balance, which represents a direct challenge to you, Lady of Graves. Or let her deliver her verdict. And so because again, this is to try and save Areelu. We're going to do the stop on appeal to your mercy. And we have a really good diplomacy check. So, yeah. Your words ring out in the silence. They are heard, considered, and given their due weight.
The laws of the universe have existed for millennia. They are incontrovertible. But even they allow the decider of fate some degree of influence over the verdict. You wrought great evil, but your deeds stemmed from evil done to you. You have acknowledged your guilt and done a great deal of good. Even the one who suffered most from your endeavors now appeals to me on your behalf. I see that now your soul is clean. I shall send you to Nirvana, plane of peace and spirituality, which is what your soul needs now. So be it.
And like that, this is exactly how you can save Areelu Vashon.
Now you, the mortal who has risen so high as to stand boldly in the presence of the goddess of fate. You have done the impossible, and you will be remembered as long as this universe exists. Go, live out the rest of your life. I look forward to tales of your future deeds.
The end. Now, hopefully you guys enjoyed this ultimate guide to the Golden Dragon or the Dragon Pathway. I know this took really long to get out to you guys. I appreciate those that have watched all the way through. But for those of you that don't know, I had done most of this and then I'd recorded and was editing this, and then my hard drive that I had on this completely failed, and I had to basically redo the recording. So it was quite a tedious and just mentally exhausting experience having to redo it, because these projects take a ton of time. So if you did enjoy this, please leave a like, drop a comment to get this video noticed more, so it gets hopefully the due credit it deserves from the YouTube algorithm. As always, guys, thank you for all your support, and I hope you guys enjoy my other guides and videos. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one.